In all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on February 3rd, 2011 at 3:48 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. All councilors are present. No one's absent. Councilor Ryan is presiding. Councilor Sargent moves to suspension of the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Let's join Councilor Tom Fury in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, what I would like to do is move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Sosnowski is asking for suspension of the rules.
The reason why I asked for suspension of the rules, Mr. President, is because I would like to separate from our normal agenda this evening and go into a special thing that I have the privilege and the honor of introducing here. As the City Council's liaison to the Salem Veterans Council, the Salem Veterans Council has a ceremony that they did a couple months back, where they honored all the men and women of World War II that were Salem veterans, Salem residents when they first entered the service. Toward that end, there were some people that we missed in that first ceremony, as there probably will be more this evening that also have missed this evening's ceremony. But toward that end, what I'd like to do is honor those men and women that we did not have the opportunity to honor at that first occasion. And at this point, what I would like to do is move again for the suspension of the rules to allow the representatives of the Salem Veterans Council to come forward to the microphone and explain the procedures, and then we get into a ceremony and honor these deserving veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sosnowski. So suspension of the rules to allow the Salem Veterans Council to address the council.
Thank you, Council President. Mayor Driscoll, City Council members, fellow veterans, family, and friends. Tonight we are here to honor several members of Salem's greatest generation. When our country called, these veterans answered. And upon their return, many continued to play an active role in the life of our city. After World War I, returning veterans were awarded medals from the city of Salem to honor their wartime service. Although this tradition ended after the World War, the Salem Veterans Council recently received permission from the city to recreate the medal to honor all wartime veterans from the city of Salem. The gold medallion hangs from a red, white, and blue ribbon and is imprinted with the seal of the city of Salem. The ribbon is identical to the one that adorned the original medal, with an updated ribbon bar that reads, "For wartime service." The medal is a simple but important gesture of admiration from a city that truly honors the service of its veterans. This past Veterans Day at Salem High School, we honored over 50 World War II veterans in the initial award ceremony. All of the eligible wartime veterans will be issued the medal at future ceremonies like the one tonight. I would like to ask at this time the Veterans Council agent to come forward to read the names of our honored guests. Okay. I would like to, at this time, ask Mayor Kim Driscoll to come forward. We're going to do a presentation of the medals, and we're going to go from this way around, and then we'll go from that and around this way here. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Christian Bolia, gunner's mate, 2nd class, United States Navy. Leonard St. Pierre, Sergeant, United States Army. Robert Hildunen, Aviation Radioman, 3rd class, United States Navy. Sobocinski, Seaman First Class, United States Coast Guard. Daniel Mackey, Sergeant, United States Army Air Corps. Albert Provencher, Corporal, United States Army. Clifford Provencher, Corporal, United States Army. Robert Field, Seaman First Class, United States Navy. Chester Zurkowski, Signalman, Second Class, United States Coast Guard. Peter Carbone, Seaman First Class, United States Navy. Rudolph LaBelle, Staff Sergeant, United States Army Air Corps. Ruth Pinot, First Lieutenant, United States Army. John Terry, Radioman, Third Class, United States Navy. Walter Kosek, Private First Class, United States Army. Victor Maxer, Storekeeper, Third Class, United States Navy.
I would like to ask at this time if our Honorable Mayor Kim Driscoll will please say a few words. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Driscoll.
I'll be brief. I just want to thank the Salem Veterans Council, and in particular Councilor Mike Sosnowski, for bringing back what is a wonderful, wonderful tradition. It really gives all of us who are currently serving the city of Salem a chance to thank those who served before us in such a special way. It's the ultimate sacrifice to have served your country, and to be able to recognize you is a very small honor that I think warms all of our hearts. So I appreciate all the families coming out, and just a heartfelt thanks to the Veterans Council for bringing back this ceremony and giving us a chance to honor you for all that you've done. And I'm especially thrilled to be able to pin the Salem Medal on the first woman recipient that we've had of this evening. So thank you for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Would you please join me in a round of applause for our honored veterans and their families? This concludes our ceremony, and once again, thank you so very much for everybody for attending this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Councilor Sosnowski.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for a 5-minute recess.
5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Okay, this portion of the meeting is the public testimony. This is actually the first time that actually people are going to be speaking. Just want a couple ground rules. When you come up to speak, the total for everybody is 15 minutes total for everybody. There's no questions. You can't ask any questions of the council. It's only comments. You have to be on the sign-up sheet to speak, which is there at 6:30 in the city clerk's office. I'm going to go down the list, and each person can come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and then you can comment on the topic, which topic of today is the licenses, liquor licenses. All right, the first person on the list is Stacy Ray Frazier. She in the council chambers. You can come up to the microphone.
I would like to pass.
Okay, pass. Okay, next on the list is Linda Capuccio. Please come up to the microphone.
I thought that we were going to wait to hear what everyone said, and then we were going to be able to comment.
No, this is in the beginning of the meeting. It's a public comment. You have to state it in the beginning, and there's no questions. You can just comment what you want to say.
I mean, I sent a letter around on Tuesday and called a bunch of people, so I don't know if that's really my comment.
Okay, so you want to
What's
pass?
in the letter.
Okay, you want to pass? Next on the list is Dick Isbrinston. I don't know if I said it right. If you want to speak and come up to the microphone, just state your name and address.
Dirk Isbranson, Caps Waterfront Grill, 94 Wharf Street. I'd like, with respect, to comment on the agenda items that refer both to the expansion of limited licenses and also to the granting of home rule petitions for new licenses. Okay. And I'd just like to state some very brief, probably already known public statistics just from the towns around us. Marblehead has a population of 20,000 people with 24 licensed restaurants. Salem, a population of 44,000, about that, with 55 licensed restaurants, not counting liquor and liquor stores and clubs. Beverly, a population of 40,000 and 44 licensed restaurants. So just from a starting point, we know we have lots of tourists. We're very happy to have lots of tourists. I help satisfy lots of those tourists, but they're not around in January, February, and March. And it is critically important that we consider the impact of expanding the licenses and the capacity of the restaurant community when it is not clear that our market is growing. There are some people who will benefit, and those are the people who are petitioning for licenses at a reduced cost to themselves, bearing in mind that there are the majority of the license holders paid somewhere between $100 to $150 or $200,000 for their licenses. It gives a very substantial competitive advantage to the people who are granted a home rule petition. I can see no benefit to the residents of Salem. And I'd like to point out that a couple of years ago, just after the Tavern in the Square opened up, that the police had to go around soliciting financial contributions from restaurant owners so that they could put more police on the streets. Okay? And I'm asking you as council members, do you want that to happen more? Because that's going to be one of the considerations you'll have to make when you're thinking about expanding more licensed restaurants within our community. And I get the feeling that this is a little bit of a Robin Hood kind of situation. I think that people are thinking of those of us who saved our money, who invested in liquor licenses, who sometimes waited as long as 2 years to get a license, have a license come available, that we're the rich, and that the people who have applied for seasonal licenses and are looking for expansion without having to purchase those expanded rights, or those people petitioning for home rule licenses, must be the poor, because I have no idea what the motivation is for pushing this agenda forward at this accelerated and aggressive rate. I do think that there is a way to expand the licenses in Salem that is reasonably equitable. And I think the way is to go back and measure what the aggregate market was, how much business and how much tax revenue, however you'd like to measure it, did the restaurants that existed 3 years ago, prior to the first round of home rule petitions, how much revenue did they generate? It's very easy to calculate that now because we have specific meals tax. But it's also you were also able to go back and calculate that. If you found, and use that as a base level of understanding what the market is, and then if you come back and you'll say, okay, as of today, has that market grown equal to 7 new restaurants being licensed? If it has, in a similar percentage, then it makes sense that we've kind of come back to par. If then you're thinking about what are the criteria for expanding more licenses or conversions in the future, simply go and measure again in 3 to 5 year increments. If you see that the demand has expanded, then by all means, it's a reasonable situation where you could offer people additional licenses beyond town. Short of that, you're just robbing us to satisfy somebody else. And if you think that adding more restaurants is going to add more revenue to the town, I just would ask you to think again. Because clearly that would have been the case if we had a very constrained marketplace and there was only a few operators. But with 55 operators, I have no evidence that there was any lack of demand that is not fulfilled by the existing restaurants in town, except perhaps for, Halloween Saturday night.
I don't mean to cut you off, but you've been going for 5 minutes, and we have to get the other people in here within 15 minutes.
That, frankly, is the summation of my, please consider my thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Patrick Schultz. I just try to keep it brief. I don't know if we can go past the 15 minutes, so.
My name is Patrick Schultz. I live at 17 Valley Street in Salem, and one of the owners of the Howling Wolf Taqueria at 76 Lafayette, corner of Lafayette and New Derby Street. Thank you. It's going to be faster for me just to read my notes. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm speaking on behalf of the 2 families who have invested in the Howling Wolf and in Salem, as well as all of our staff and present and future customers. We at the Howling Wolf Taqueria urge you to vote in favor of the Home Rule Liquor License petition before you, because we think it is good for Salem for the following reasons. The conversions and new licenses will continue to breathe life into Salem's downtown renaissance and its growing reputation as the premier dining destination on the North Shore. It will translate into more tax revenue for the city. 0.75% of the meals tax goes directly to the city. Although the majority of the meals tax revenue goes to the state, much will be allocated back to Salem. Salem's growing regional prestige will over time likely enhance property values, which translates into more tax revenue for the city. And this is in addition to the significant fees that would be charged to restaurants seeking conversion and new home rule licenses. Conversion and new home rule licensing fees will go directly to the promotion of Salem as a year-round destination, benefiting all of Salem's restaurants and shops. Visitors to Salem's restaurants will also shop in Salem. Salem residents and residents of surrounding communities will be given more full-service dining choices and will travel into downtown Salem more frequently to eat. If allowed to serve beer, wine, and other alcoholic drinks all year, new restaurants, such as the Howling Wolf Taqueria, will be given the tools to succeed and play an integral part in the economic health of Salem. We will also be better positioned to benefit the community through contributions to Salem schools, community nonprofits, and individuals in need of assistance, which is something that the Howling Wolf has already begun to do. And to be fully integrated into a community, it's our expectation of ourselves, and I would hope you consider it as an expectation of other restaurants that they become not just benefactors of a good economic situation, or beneficiaries of a good economic situation in Salem, but as also folks who would actually give back to their community, which does not always happen. Many of the establishments seeking a conversion offer the public a uniquely distinct dining option representing Eastern Europe and Central America, to name just 2. We opened the Howling Wolf Taqueria to provide a dynamic, affordable restaurant where people from all walks of life could meet and enjoy all that the rich cuisine of Mexico offers. At least 2 of the new restaurants seeking annual full liquor licenses have moved into and rehabbed high-profile but previously boarded-up downtown spaces. When determining what applications for home rule licenses will be best for the city, we hope the city will advantage restaurants that have already invested in Salem and that have already demonstrated responsible ownership. We believe that a formal waiting period for seasonal license conversions, which has been talked about, should not be enacted. Waiting periods would signify the city's willingness to initiate new businesses into the Salem restaurant community, and we feel that would be inappropriate and would benefit no one. And then finally, I would like to say that we run a very responsible and family-friendly business and work very hard to provide our customers with very good and healthy food, great ambiance, gracious service, and in some ways a cultural and community center, unlike anything that exists in Salem. We love what we do and have been embraced by many, many people in Salem and in surrounding communities. We would like to continue to be able to accommodate their needs and to be a member of the Salem community for a very long time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. Next up is Ray Church. Also, can you state your name and address? You didn't have your address on this form.
27 Charter Street,
Okay, thank you.
apartment 807. Good evening. My name is Ray. Basically, I'm part of that B5 zoning law that we're talking about, or businesses in the area. I've lived in Salem most of my life. And since I graduated from South State College back in 1974, I've seen the downtown grow. When I first came here, I lived in the dorms at off Lafayette, and I lived on Winter Street. Then I committed the last 2 years in going through Beverly, was somewhat of a nightmare. Hells Angels and the Hispanic community weren't the best. My father ran the Sylvania plant on Long Ave, and I went to Salem State. I've seen it grow since that time. When I was a freshman in 1970, it's gone from rags to riches. And excuse me, I'll turn a page here, maybe. And I'm ensconced in the Salem community. I worked for mass rehab at Ashland Park until I went out on a disability for a neurological condition. At that time, my sons lived on Sumner Road with their mother. I spent a lot of time visiting the Old Dog Cafe up near Salem State, Garziani. I love Paula and Giovanni. We also spent a lot of time at the hot dog place on Washington Street in the Edgewater Cafe. I was saddened to see it go, saying we had the only Mexican restaurant in that area. In the area, unless you wanted to drive to Manchester, what have you, for the Edgewater there. The big picture is basically about community. It's about meeting the criteria, but it's also about enhancing the downtown business community or environment, which all three restaurants that Pat expounded upon, they meet the ideals of community, good food, competition, excellence, and desire. All three meet and propel beyond these requirements. Obviously, and whose performance deserves to be heard. And when applying the requirements, we should act civilly and use common sense about getting the Wolfhead liquor license. Community, what does that mean? Well, according to Wikipedia, it's a group of living things sharing the same environment, which is the business community in downtown Salem. They usually have shared interests, and this affects the identity of the group of people in the area. The Wolf has invested in Salem, and my opinion is they should have priority consideration when talking about the liquor license.
Excuse me, I don't mean to cut you off, but we're at 15 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if I can
Mr.
ask for
Mr.
suspension of
President?
rules to allow these other people. We have 7 more people to speak.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would ask for a suspension of the rule to
I just
allow
don't- I don't
Mr.
wanna cut
Church
them
and
off.
others to be heard. No,
No, you
Mr.
keep
Church.
going. Yeah, you can keep going. You can keep going. But just try to keep it brief so we can get everyone
I'm
up there.
almost through. We're going to digress a little bit and talk about baseball. My son was nominated the captain of the Salem High School team, and that happened because his teammates believed in him. They believed in him attaining his drive to succeed, determination, desire, passion and commitment, and integrity and excellence, which is what Wolf is attempting to do. Page 4. So I challenge all of you to, hey, Freeman, writing, challenge you to reach way down and have the courage and the fortitude to listen. As I said, act civilly and in common sense. This is similar. Aiden, my son, exudes passion, desire, commitment, integrity, and excellence. And I just wish that the city of Salem would do the right thing, listening and acting upon people that I don't have vested interest in. I'm just some disabled guy that has watched Salem grow over the past 6 years. I've been at Charter Street, which is up the road, not too far, Sunstone. So basically, I want to make this challenge that people, embrace the courage and the fortitude, the passion, the desire, the commitment, and integrity, and excellence. My son Aiden exudes the Wolf does all that, and I kind of was surprised when HR left because there was no place to get a good burrito or fajita or whatever you want. And last fall, going there was an experience, just the environment, et cetera, et cetera. I love place, and I think that, as I said, listen, Pat, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Next on the list is Rinus Oyst. Renus, sorry. Sorry, Renus. From the Chamber of Commerce.
Renus Oosthoek, Salem Chamber of Commerce, 265 Essex Street. I believe you all received considerations of the Chamber previously, and instead of an 8-minute epistle, I will just give you a couple of the points that I think are worth listening to and maybe for you to consider. Home rule petitions, according to the Chamber, should only move forward if there's no licenses on the open market, which seems to be one of the discussion points that comes up every now and then. And according to the Chamber, every license is for sale. Until you ask somebody, you don't know whether they will sell it to you or not. We think the future petition in the form of creating a level playing field through a fee structure is a great positive development. It will create a playing field where the current license holders will keep the value of their license, and the new license holders who will be able to sell their home rule license will get their value as well. Will be very good moving forward. Who can petition for the current situation? We think it should be limited to the seasonal license holders and nobody else. No annual license holders should be able to use the current situation to petition for home rule. And within the current situation, the fee structure should really reflect the market license of the current licenses. And one of the ways we see you be able to do that, or the licensing board be able to do that, is just to look at the last 3 or 5 licenses sold, create a level, divide it by 5, and come up with a number. And within the home rule, we do think there is a minor adjustments possible because it is not transferable from location to location, but 90% of the licenses sell at the location they are, which means that should be very comfortable to create a market fee structure for that. Moving forward, we urge you to make seasonal licenses for seasonal businesses only, meaning businesses that are open for the season and not in winter. That would solve a whole lot of the discussion that we're having now about this situation. Establishing a track record of what is happening, as Dirk Isbranson said, with the licenses and with the revenue that's coming into the city, the local option tax, the prediction for the first year might be somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000 already. Over time, you can keep a track record and see what happens with that. Right now, it all goes into the general fund, and it's being used for the good of the city, and I think you should thank the restaurants for that and the patrons of the restaurants for that. And then finally, we want you, and we will try to do the same, encourage the licensing board to stay as active as they can in making sure that all licenses are active and that the so-called pocket licenses are limited as much as we can, because essentially all licenses are given to license holders to make use of them and generate revenue both for the state and for the city. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Next up the list is Derek Barsakowski.
Good evening, Derek Borsakowski with Cafe Polonia, residing at 14 Curtis Street in Salem. I believe that all the issues that have been discussed here over the last few months in regards to the liquor license situation can be consolidated to 3 issues. The first one is the availability of liquor licenses available for purchase. I'd like to reiterate that there are no liquor licenses available for purchase for interested parties. I know there have been numerous discussions in this room about questionable licenses. I went as far as sending out a letter to every license holder in the city of Salem indicating our interest to purchase a liquor license such. Shall anybody decide to liquidate that asset? I have not had any response. And again, I don't believe there are any licenses available for sale. The second issue is market saturation that has also been discussed quite frequently in here. I believe it is not up to the city or other restaurant owners to decide what market saturation is. I believe it's the market itself that should decide that. I don't think there's any evidence in the city of Salem that the market, as far as restaurant business, has reached its saturation point. Statistically, 33% of restaurants fail in the first year, and another 33% fail in the second year of operation. That's based on national studies and research. And if that was the case, that means that 2/3 of all restaurants in the city of Salem would close within 2 years. And we all know that is not the case. Both new restaurants and old restaurants are thriving. And I believe when the market is saturated, there will be evidence, and that will be seen in the form of new restaurants which just cannot stay open and operate. Lastly, I believe the main issue is the fee structure. And obviously the proposal for home rule petitions and for conversions involves a fee to be paid by restaurants who are interested in pursuing that option. At the meeting last week, one of the council members said that he does not oppose people who want to come into the city, invest the money, and pay fair market value for licenses. He opposes the free ride. I think we should embrace that argument and let the market decide what the fees should be, which restaurants will opt to pursue a conversion or a home rule license, and if that was a wise decision for their particular business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next on the list is Jennifer Reardon.
Yes, I own In a Pig's Eye Restaurant, have owned it for 25 years, and
Just your name and address.
Oh, sorry. 35 Chestnut Street, Jennifer Reardon, 35 Chestnut Street,
Thank
in
you.
Salem. In a Pig's Eye Restaurant on Derby Street. I support the conversions if they are converted to what they are. So a beer and wine goes to a full year beer and wine license. I don't think that it should be enhanced to a full liquor license. I think also I do not support adding any additional license because I do feel the market is saturated, and without, exposing my financials, I can tell you honestly, after 25 years of business, in the last few years with all these additional licenses, that my revenue has gone down considerably. And I just feel that the council and the licensing board really needs to be careful on what sort of precedent they're setting and how they're creating these rules and what they're going to do. I do feel we are saturated, but what's done is done, and I respect the people, the Polish restaurant and the Howling Wolf, that they put a lot of time and invested their livelihoods into opening restaurants in Salem. So therefore I do support them to be converted to year-round licenses, because I feel that the 10 weeks a year for them not to be able to serve is almost like a punishment to them, and I think that's unnecessary. And I would like to see them be able to serve beer and wine or whatever their license says year-round. But other than that, I also would just strongly just stress that I really think that in 1986, I paid $85,000 for my liquor license, and that was 25 years ago. And I think that the board really needs to consider the value of the license that they're putting on these new licenses and what sort of fees they're going to consider. And I think $15,000 is way, way, way too small. And I guess it's all about compromise, and we all have to work together and make this work. And I think we can. That's it.
Thank you. Next is George Carey.
George Carey, 76 Wharf Street, Salem, Mass., owner of Finn's Restaurant. Thank you for having us. I think you can tell, I'd like to ask councilors, I think we've certainly discussed this a real lot. I've spoken to the mayor. The mayor's met with the chamber. I've been to 3 city council meetings. We've had numerous restaurant meetings with old, new, and developing stores. I think what's real clear, I'd like to really ask all the councilors to think as we weigh this, is there are really 2 distinct things in front of you. One is home rule petition that are new licenses that are yet unidentified in buildings not yet known. And then there's the conversions, which I think are some very good people that have come to town. And that is a real tough situation that the existing holders are in and the new conversions are in. I will say this, though. We've granted 7 or 9 home rule petition licenses already. We have done a number of seasonal licenses to businesses that arguably aren't seasonal and prepare and want to be open year-round. And no one has come in this chamber and fought that. So everyone who's received one, none of the restaurateurs have come. Certainly not where the room is filled and we need a sheet. I think that action alone, we really need to weigh. The restaurateurs are really trying to say a message, and it's very hard for business owners to say, I'm not doing well in a public forum. It's just really not what you'd want to do in your business. I think we can say it's a tough business. We can say times are tough for the weather. But I do think that the sheer number of energy, number of people talking that are in this room that weren't in the room when the tavern license was granted, that weren't complaining when Howling Wolf opened or Polonier opened, I think really should be weighed. I think I'd like you all to really consider what people are really trying to say in a very respectful way. I think if we do conversions, and if the chamber supports that, and they realize there's a lot at stake, I do ask them it's done fair. I believe in a free market. I believe in an open market, but I believe in it being balanced. I think that the price of entry in Salem should be equal to everybody, not just a lucky few that may be within developing on one or two developers' properties, but for all that seek to come into Salem. I think that's very, very important. I think that also, if we're going to assign the licensing board, as the proposal has been, to set a price, I get a little nervous about any government agency setting a price of a private asset or a business asset, because it's a very, very slippery slope. We don't want to do that, particularly in a democracy. But yet you set the assessed value of everyone's home on real estate. So I think by using that same formula, which would be the comps, the sales comps, would be a fair and equitable way to do that. I think those that seek conversions should be given the time. I think in light of where we stand right now in February, where unfortunately these license holders will probably not convert before April 1st by the time it gets through here and through the State House, that we do have time to do it right. Because as I heard last week, there is still a number of, as much hard work has been done by the mayor's office and different various committees, there's still a number of questions open. There are questions of existing license holders that want to convert, not just the now 6 or 7 that are listed. I think the pricing mechanism is important, and I think it should be weighed very carefully. And in light of now, we're not in any Pall Mall rush to get, it's not December where we're going to close them down January 15th. I just want to make sure we do it right and not just in haste then try to unwind it. Because we're already seeing now a lot of what-ifs from other people that are very well-meaning, that have been in the community for a long time. I think that's very important. I'm not sure what the market is, saturated or not. I think, though, the presence in the room says a lot, and I think I'm going to want to listen to everybody, but certainly businesses that have 2, 3, or in my case, 10 years of sales history, I certainly can have a much better indicator of how the market's doing. My first year, I had nothing to compare it to. So if I'm less than a year old, it's very hard to say that. I mean, new businesses are going to have a very nice honeymoon curve. But I think they're two separate issues. I'd like you to look at that. I do appreciate all your time. I think there's been a lot of very good people. I think Salem's a great restaurant town. I think I'm amazed that usually restaurants, it's fun to talk about. This kind of feels like a branding meeting about, we're going to talk about which, or History, or the Maritime. But by the presence in the room, I think it's very important that we look at and we weigh this very carefully, but we do it fair, because I think a lot of the energy is about the fairness of why is it for some and not for others, and then if we're going to do the conversion, setting a fair price. Thank you.
Thank you. That's 3 more people. Next is Lindsay Morcillo.
Lindsay Morcillo, 53 Broad Street here in Salem. Councilors, I would like you to support more full liquor licenses in Salem. I don't believe it's the place of the city to make winners and losers in businesses in Salem. And I think that's kind of a core issue. A number of people have mentioned that as one of the key issues here. And I think just to sort of lay it out right there, you're in the position of being able to call winners and losers, be kingmakers. The market is saturated when patrons, such as myself, I'm a software engineer, not a restaurateur, so I frequent these establishments and spend my money there. When folks like myself stop going there, then that's the market talking, all right? The businesses have to deal with that. That's what they know they have to deal with, because that's part of running a business, and I don't think it's the job of the city to dip fingers in there, even if it's sort of in an off way by manipulating the commodity market around what it takes to open a restaurant. In the interest of time, that's the one point I guess I'll stress. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Joe Slesser.
Yes. Hi, my name is Joe Slesser. I'm from Salem Beer Works at 278 Derby Street. My business has been in Salem since 1996, and I have 4 other brewery restaurants in communities like this in Massachusetts. And Salem has really changed a ton since 1996, if people remember back that far. There's way more housing here now. There's residential above my restaurant. There's residential on Derby Street. There's residential in a whole bunch of areas. There's the Main Street is much more lively. When somebody came to me and said, hey, I want to sell you Old Salem Brewery in 1996, I didn't know a lot about Salem, and when we came here and looked at it, it was, I would call it sketchy in terms of bringing a business here and going, we're going to be successful in a brewery restaurant here. And since then, I have to say, Salem has really grown. It's grown dramatically. It's grown great. It's a great restaurant scene. We grew and grew and grew for a number of years. And in the past several years, we too have experienced a decline. Since 2007, we're down significantly in this market. There's a number of factors that go into place or take place, I think. The economy, certainly, the weather, things like that certainly hurt. But I have to say that Salem Beer Works and me as a business person, I don't believe that, that we should limit the competition in a way to try to control that. We have to, the business owners have to reinvest. What I'm doing right now is I'm negotiating with George Osgood for an extended term to stay in Salem. I want to be in Salem. I'm reinventing my place and investing in it as we speak right now, which is why I have work boots on. We're totally renovating. So we believe that the business owners have to take responsibility. We feel the pain of existing businesses, but we do believe that they have to also reinvest and re-put into the community, whether it's 15 years or 10 years or 5 years. Otherwise, somebody new will come along and they want to do things. So kind of in summary, I think that the city can certainly support more licenses, and if you don't want empty storefronts, which I have seen in Lowell where we are, or I have seen in other businesses where we went on the South Shore and we've opened in Hingham now, and they're trying to fill their storefronts, and they're issuing licenses, and they are giving them for free to people like us to come to the community. It's good for business. Salem is doing the right thing. It has a huge tourist market. The tourist market has grown enormously since 1996. It was only about witches back then, only. And now it is great. It is a year-round place. It is not Marblehead. It is Salem, and it is a tourist destination. So, briefly, we ask that the council support upgrades of licenses, seasonal, or us. We got a beer and wine because we were only allowed to have a beer and wine back in 1996. We're now allowed to have full liquor. And we would also ask that you support a methodology like the mayor has proposed to issue licenses in some fashion so that you can fill your storefronts and you can attract business people that want to develop a building or want to put something in. You can't build something if you don't know if you can get the license. So I ask that your guys' support for the measures.
Thank you. And the last one we have is George Osgood.
I'm going to pass.
You going to pass?
Ms. Fletcher has said what I was going to do.
Okay. That was it. All right, so that's the end of the public comment period. We're about 30 minutes, but it's all right.
Mr. President, I ask for suspension of the rules to go immediately to page 8, committee reports, item 3.
Okay, so suspension of the rules going to...
The reason I'm asking this is all these people waited quite a while, so we might as well go right to it.
All right, so Council Pelletier asks for suspension of rules to go directly to committee reports. Anyone opposed? All right, at this time, I'm going to recuse, Council Lovely?
No, go ahead.
At this time, I'm going to recuse myself because I have a financial interest in a license, so I can't debate any. Councilor O'Keefe, can you take over for me? Thank you.
Councilor Lovely, wish to be recognized, Chairman of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, thank you, Council Pelletier. We were going to move to that, but thank you for doing that, for moving to committee reports.
Ma'am, address your,
Thank you for
ma'am,
moving to
address your
reports.
questions to the chair,
Thank you for moving.
and then I'll forward them to the councilor.
No question.
Question?
City of Salem, in City Council, February 10, 2011. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of Order Number 14, Home Rule Petition to make current seasonal liquor licenses annual licenses, has considered said matter and would recommend, Madam City Clerk, I think there's a part of this missing, because it's not just to make the current seasonal liquor licenses annual licenses. The second part of the home rule petition is to also issue the 3 additional licenses. So if we could just amend this committee report to add that.
So it's all one matter?
Yes, the matter of, the committee to whom is referred the matter of order number 14, home rule petition to make current seasonal liquor licenses annual licenses, and for the addition of 3 additional blanket all alcohol annual licenses. Has considered said matter and would recommend. The City Council, I believe, has in front of them the home rule petition. We made some amendments in committee. These are the recommendations by the committee. In section 3A, amend by adding B5 zoning to section 3A. That was at the suggestion of Councilor Sargent. I'm going to read this and then we'll go on to discussion. And also to add C to section 3 with this language. If an existing liquor licensee purchases one of the 3 additional liquor licenses, the current liquor license of that business shall be sold under the condition that it shall remain in the B5 zoning district. And further, that the matter be reported out of committee with no recommendation.
Remarks, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we had 3 meetings on this. We had one back on October 21st, one on November 4th, and the third was just last week on February 3rd. They were heavily attended. There was a lot of respectful testimony on both sides of the issues. There's very strong testimony on both sides of the issue. We listened to all the testimony. We received, I'm sure all councilors received many emails, many phone calls. We understand, I believe, and I won't speak for all the councilors, but I believe we understand where everyone stands. Unfortunately, it's divided our restaurant community because we either have people that are in favor of this or others that are opposed, although I had some nice testimony tonight where people are saying, well, perhaps you can do convert the seasonals, but hold off on the other 3 blanket licenses, and a little bit of everything. So I want to thank everyone for their input in this. It's been a very difficult issue. We're going to I'll talk about the criteria under another council order because we worked on that as well, but it's not before us at the moment. Mr. President, just a couple of comments before I give up the chair, and I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. One of the comments that's come out is about market saturation, and actually I've been kind of told that was my comment. I've read that, and a few emails have come to me. Gee, Councilor Lovey, you believe that the market's saturated? That wasn't my comment. I repeated, so that was said by someone else. I don't have the experience or expertise to know if our market is saturated. I don't know. I'm a resident here. I'm a patron of many restaurants downtown, but I don't know if we're saturated or not. That's not something that I would be able to comment on with any surety. Again, I know that the restaurants that I patronize that I enjoy going to. The thing about a fee structure came up. A lot of this has been said about fees because this city council in the past has issued other home rule petition licenses essentially without a fee, or the fee is the annual fee that the licensing board assesses. And a couple of those early on, we had restricted the language that they stay at that address. Since then, I think the last 3 or 4 have been expanded where they could stay at that address but be sold to another entity. So, and I did speak with the chair at the state legislature who said they like to give that flexibility to these business owners to be able to sell to another entity at that address. So now we have before us these 7 seasonal licenses that would now like to convert to annual. We've got 3 all alcohol. We have 4 wine and malt for these 7 established businesses. At this time, Mr. President, I'd like to ask to divide the question, and I'll tell you why. And I spoke about this in committee. I'm supportive of allowing the seasonal license holders to go to annual. They're established businesses now. If you compared them to the criteria that we hope to adopt relatively soon, I think that they've met a lot of that criteria. And I think that, and I think someone already said it here tonight, to have them not be able to serve for 10 weeks in the slowest part of the season doesn't make sense. So I'd like to divide out the question, because, and I've also talked to the mayor about this, and I know her support is behind this.
But Counselor, that's your own opinion. That's not the recommendation of the committee, correct?
No, this will be my own.
Okay, so we have before us now the recommendation of the
explaining it,
committee.
and then
No recommendation.
That's correct.
Correct?
And I'm going to make a
Shouldn't
motion.
we act on that first?
No.
No, all right, go ahead.
No, anyone could move to amend,
All right.
Mr. President.
Go ahead.
That'll be the final vote.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So, Mr. President, I'd like to move to amend, to divide the question, and I'd like to divide out section 4.
Does the council have all of these
I'm
documents
sorry,
you want
section,
to look at?
yes, they do, sir.
All right.
Yeah, you do as well.
Everyone has? All right,
I'd
go
like
ahead.
to-
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
ma'am.
I'd like to divide out section 3 in its entirety. I believe it's section 3, for the issue up to 3 additional annual licenses for the sale of all alcohol beverages to be drunk on the premises. And the reason why I'd like to divide that out, and so that we will be voting on sections 1, 2, and 4, and 5 separately than from section 3. I checked with the city solicitor. It's okay to divide this question. It's just a matter of kind of housekeeping afterwards to write it up so it goes to the state legislature in proper form. I'm not supportive of issuing the 3 blanket licenses for a number of reasons. Just a couple. I don't believe that the city should be a market participant. I think that we should not be imparting ourselves in the market. Not at this time. The second reason is I've spoken with the state legislature, and I've spoken with the chair of the committee at the state legislature, and he's not supportive of issuing a blanket license. I guess the history of the committee up at the legislature, it's a joint committee with the Senate, is to issue home rule petition licenses to a particular business at a particular address. So to ask for 3 blanket licenses, and we don't know where they're going to land, there's no support up at the legislature for that, or at least in that committee, at least from that chair. I haven't spoken directly with our state rep, but I know the other councilors have as well, and he's aware that the chair is not supportive of those 3 blanket licenses. So I think it's actually kind of unfair and maybe even a little irresponsible of us to ask the legislature for those three, and kind of put that out to the community that we might, in fact, be getting those when I really think the chances are that we're not. But the third part of it is the way I'd like to approach this, is that we take each home rule petition on its merit as it comes in front of us. We will, at that point, have criteria in front of us. If someone wants to convert, say, their beer and wine, they're a year-round, to an all-alcohol, petition the city council, and we'll look at the merits and we'll pass it. So it's a case-by-case basis. The state legislature, back in Prohibition or post-Prohibition, put the cap on communities. We've been living with this for decades. It's there. We can't do anything about it, but we do have the process of home rule petition, and I think we should look at each application as it comes in, not issue 3 and then put it out for RFP, and I just don't think that's a good idea. So I'd like the support to divide the question, to take them up separately, and let them pass or fail on their own merits. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, specifically, should you read in the line you want eliminated?
I don't want it eliminated.
Well, line 3.
Divided.
I'm divided, all right.
Divided.
So what, is it one sentence? I don't have it in front of me, so.
It's section, here.
All right, so, Council Peter, could you bring me up to, right
Here.
there somewhere? There we go, okay. Well, keep that in, Paul. Council Peter, you could be mine? Still on. Here, ma'am. Okay.
Now, Mr. President, as this is read, you'll have to remember that the committee recommended adding language to this section as well. So that's on the floor.
All right, so what, under section 3, parenthesis A, that's going to be handled separately, and B is separately.
No.
No.
Section 3 in its entirety is handled separately from
Well, that's what I was going to say. B is
sections-
going to be excluded too, or divided rather.
No, section 3
Yep.
will be divided
All right?
entirely from
That paragraph.
sections
That
1,
paragraph.
2, and 4.
All right?
Okay?
Any questions of the committee on this matter here,
We'll
of the
vote,
division of the
so
question
on the
first?
division of the question, it would divide so that we vote on sections 1, 2, and 4,
All right?
and then section 3 by itself.
Questions on this division, not on the recommendation of the committee. Councilor Sosnowski, Ward 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have more than that question itself. I mean, I agree with separating the question. However, I really have a problem with a lot of this. Quite honestly, Section 1 gathers all 7 licenses together, and that's in itself something I want to separate. There were 3 of those licenses that I would move forward with, and there were 4 of those that I would like to discuss on an individual basis. All right? And that's just in Section 1. So I'd like to have Section 1 divided in itself. Section 2 would remain. I agree with Councilor Lovely with Section 3. Section 4, I don't agree with the fee structure that as it's written. Section 5, well, Section 5 doesn't exist.
Well, Council, are you offering a motion to delete? What is your action? What do you wish to do?
Mr.
You want to
President,
delete
Mr.
Section
President,
1 and?
In Section 1, it refers to 7 restaurants, all right? 3 of those restaurants I would support. 4 of those restaurants are actually restaurants that have multiple licenses currently. And I have a few questions that I want to have answered before I vote on anything toward that end. All right? So, I mean, just in Section 1 alone, it refers to all 7, grouping them together as 1. And I'm
Council, are you
opposed to
moving
that.
for a motion to strike that? Or are you just expounding on Councilor Lovely's recommendation? What do you wish us to do?
In Section 1, I want to separate the 3 currently issued seasonal licenses for the sale of all alcoholic beverages.
So you're making a motion to?
I want to separate that from the additional ones in the same section that's noted as 4 currently issued seasonal licenses for beer and wine.
Well, Council, don't you think it appropriate, so it's going to be kind of confusing now. Don't you think it's appropriate we handle Councilor Lovely's recommendation first for a division
The
of?
recommendation, Mr. President, was to just separate those points alone and then
That's
vote on
correct.
it from there. I don't want to vote on it from there. It needs to be further separated is my contention.
So you offered a motion? It's Fisher cuts bait, Councilor.
Well-
You offering a motion, or?
What are you putting before us at this point, Mr. President?
Well, I
Are
mean,
we
we-
going
it's
be-
gonna be-
Do you want to vote on just Councilor Lovely's motion to separate Section 3?
Yes.
Do you want to come back and talk about Section 1 later?
Positively.
Then fine, I will come back
Are
and
you
talk about-
satisfied?
If we vote on only Section 3 at this point, yes.
That's all the council's
If we're
recommending.
going to talk about Section 1 separately, that's
correct.
fine, I'll sit down and I'll
That's
yield
what
the floor.
that's what we're after. I assume,
Fine.
Councilor Lovey, is that correct? We're just dealing what she's recommending, dividing the question.
On section, but we'll only be discussing Section 3.
That's all we're going to act on, is what she's recommending before us for the division of the question.
Fine, then
All right.
I'm fine with that, Mr. President.
All right, now, is there other councilors? Ma'am, the city clerk, can you tell me, for the record, the number of votes that are necessary for this matter? We discussed this previously, and I'd like to make sure that my colleagues know how many votes are necessary for this division of the question and enactment of the home rule petition. How many? I look at the back of your head, ma'am. So what do the rules say, so you can?
According to my list, it's just a majority,
Simple majority, so that would be 6.
but it requires a roll call vote.
Because we'll call vote. But there are 10
You have to
sitting
vote.
councilors, so it would be 6. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Anyone else on Councilor Lovey's motion to divide the question? Anyone else?
Councilor Lovely
Councilor?
needs a second.
Councilor Pelletier, Ward 3. Sir, I can't hear you. Could you stand up?
I'm a little sore, Council, but I will for you.
Well,
Yes, Councilor Lovely needs a second for that motion, and I will second that
Thank you,
motion,
sir.
Councilor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mr. President?
Councilor Lovely.
Thank you.
Remarks on your motion?
Yes. Well, actually, I think just procedurally, before we move to divide the question, I'm going to ask that we accept the amendment by the committee because it has to do with Section 3A and C. I mean, Section 3.
I will
Okay,
second that one also.
so that's does the council generally now understand what
Do you
the
understand?
council is recommending?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody understand? All the members? Okay?
That's the best
Everyone?
procedure to do it, and then divide it when it's a whole question.
And that'll be by roll call, Madam City Clerk? Or that'll be a simple majority by hands vote?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call, is that what you're saying, ma'am? Councilor Sadowski again on this matter?
Just a clarification, Mr. President, are you asking at this point, would a yes vote be to delete that section in its entirety?
Not
And-
delete, divide.
We're dividing the question,
Okay, I
Councilor.
thought we were voting on
I'm
it
sorry, I'm
itself.
confusing you.
Okay, thank you.
Division of the
Okay.
question.
All right, thank you.
We'll act on that again.
Deleted.
Just clarifying.
Let's push it. That's simple majority, Madam City Clerk, correct? 6?
Yes.
And roll call vote
We're voting on the amendment first?
on the amendment first?
Yeah.
Roll call? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Sosnowski.
No.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Ronan.
Yes.
Counselor Prevey.
Yes.
Counselor Pinto.
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier.
No.
Counselor O'Keefe.
Yes?
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Lovely.
Yes.
Counselor Fury.
Yes.
On the matter of the motion to amendment to divide the question on Section 3, the vote is 8 in
No,
favor,
that
2
was the
nays, 1
amendment.
absent.
That was the
I
amendment.
declare it
That
adopted.
was the amendment, Mr. President.
Amendment, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
ma'am. The amendment, clearly, amendment, it says at the top, I'm sorry. Amendment. 8, 2, and 1 is adopted.
Mr. President,
Councilor Lovely.
move for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it does not prevail.
Councilor Lovely moves immediate reconsideration. All in favor by hand vote or by roll call, ma'am?
Hand vote.
Hand vote.
What did the city clerk say? Hand vote?
Hand vote.
All in favor of reconsideration? All opposed? Opposed. Defeated. Go ahead.
On the
Denied.
division?
Denied. Yes, ma'am. It's adopted. Amendment's adopted to divide the question. Right.
Now on the division. of
Now the
person.
division. Go ahead.
Can we vote?
You want any remarks on that or just go forward?
No, I think I've already had the remarks,
All
Mr.
right.
President. If we could just divide Section 3 out so we can take up
City
those
clerk,
separately.
understand
Roll call
the
vote.
motion? Roll call vote? When you're ready, Madam City Clerk.
Counselor.
Hold on.
All right, remarks?
What is it exactly we're voting on? Just for.
Ma'am,
We're
explain
voting
the
on
vote to the
division now?
council.
The division.
Again?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Any other councils? Hearing none?
I just have one.
Councilor Sergeant, wish to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. President. One of them is that if we are to keep these in the B5 district, I just want to possibly put language in that will keep this to any future sale, so that anybody buying this license in the future buys the agreement. So in essence, the agreement runs with the license. And that's all I need to say, as simple as I can, is that this agreement shall run with any license created by it in perpetuity. Because the agreement, if there's a sale somewhere down the line.
I don't understand can you?
I'm just worried about this agreement going away with a sale, as far as location and all the agreements of this home rule petition.
Councilor Lovely, wish to
With a future-
answer Councilor Sergeant's question?
I'm not, Mr.
I
President,
just would like the agreement to run with the license.
what's the agreement?
And
Just
this agreement we're voting
The
on
home rule
now,
petition?
this home rule petition agreement should run with the license.
Moving for that to,
If
that
the
matter?
license sold tomorrow, next year, if it's sold to 1, 2, 3 owners, they should be buying the agreement. So we're gonna run
Moving
into
that
we're gonna
matter-
run into a case where whoever was issued the license agreed to this agreement, but whoever bought it in the future does not have to agree to it. So I just would like it to run with the license.
Do you have specific language where that should be included, and so the council will know what they're voting on? I don't understand what you're
Is that, Mr.
advancing.
President?
Ma'am.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Is that in Section 3, or is that in?
No, just in any license created in either section.
Okay, could we move on dividing the question, and then you could bring that up?
Oh, sure, we moved on that.
Yeah.
But
Councilor Sergeant.
both sections should run with the agreement should run with the license.
If you can come up with language.
So, okay.
Can we move on
Have your
dividing-
answer, Sergeant, Councilor Sergeant, you all set on the question? All right, Councilor Pelletier.
Thank you, Mr. President. To be perfectly honest, on that last vote, we're restricting a license that's already existing, whether it's outside the B5 or inside the B5. Now we're gonna restrict them to the B5. I think that's totally wrong. I don't think we have that authority to do that. But we voted for it, so I'd ask my colleague to reconsider.
Councilor Lovely.
Mr. President, actually, this is the mayor's petition, and her petition restricts it to the B5 zoning district all throughout. It's not Councilor, it wasn't Councilor Sargent. If you read this, every single one is restricted to the B5 district at the recommendation of the administration.
Councilor Pelletier.
So why did we put this in when it's not necessary? Because if all these licenses are in the B5 now,
It was missing in this one section. We made it consistent. Now we're asking to divide section 3 out so we can vote on them separately. The seasonal, the conversions from the blanket licenses, we just want to divide them.
thank you, Council, I'm not talking about that. What I'm trying to get at here is Councilor Sargent is trying to restrict, if a seasonal license gets a new license, gets one of these home rule petition licenses, then where does their seasonal license go? It goes away. It doesn't go on to another company outside, or another business outside the B5.
Councilor Sargent, have you offered that as an amendment? Or are you just throwing it out for discussion?
It's written all over this agreement that it remains in the B5 district. What I'm looking at is just to put.
Do you have specific?
Agreement shall remain with the license in perpetuity. That's all I want to put at the end of it.
Does the council understand that?
Section 2, last line, that this agreement shall run with the license in perpetuity. That's all.
That's the language you're recommending?
Yeah.
Mr. President.
That been seconded?
No, I would like to listen to Councilor Ronan and his legal advice, please.
Has it been seconded by some member of the council? Councilor Ronan, you were seconded?
I just want to move the first question. The first question is whether or not we're going to divide the vote.
We did that.
Seasonal licenses and the 3 new licenses is essentially what we're trying to do. So I want to just move that.
That's correct.
Let's just vote on that.
Well, then, you're not accepting your recommendation,
I
Council.
go with that, and we'll move forward later with that. I agree
All
with
right,
Councilor Ronan.
very good. Everyone understand, all the members of the council understand what's before us now?
Yep.
Everything but section 3.
Voting to divide the question.
Right.
The question is divided. The clerk will call the roll. Now, again, we need a simple majority of 6 members voting and present. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
Yes.
Counselor Prevey?
Yes.
Counselor Pinto?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. On the matter of the division of the question to take up number 3, and the vote is 10 in favor and 1 absent, I declare the motion adopted.
Mr. President,
Councilor Lovely.
move for immediate reconsideration in hopes it does not prevail.
Immediate reconsideration moved by Councilor Lovely. I hope it will not prevail. All in favor of immediate reconsideration? Seeing none, all opposed? Opposed. Unanimous. Denied.
Thank you, Mr.
Councilor
President.
Lovely.
Mr. President, I would actually now ask that the councilors, since we've divided the question, we will be discussing conversion or the issuance of the 3 blanket licenses. I'm sure councilors probably have something to say. I know the mayor was here. She may want to have, comment as well.
Is the mayor here? Is the mayor in her office?
Was-
All right. First is Councilor Sosnowski, then Councilor Pelletier, then Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Sosnowski, Ward 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, now that we've divided it out, Section 3 essentially has to do with the 3 blanket licenses. And I would join with Councilor Lovely in wanting to not have them. All right, so I would move that Section 3 in its entirety be removed.
Is that seconded by a member of the council?
What was the motion?
Lacking a second, it fails, Councilor.
Thank you.
Councilor Pelletier, next.
Yeah, Mr. President, I asked the chair at the 11th hour not to take any amendments on this document. We've worked it over in committee, and now's not the time to have the 11th hour debate on it.
No, Councilor, I think everybody, a member of the legislature body here should be able to do that.
Okay.
The speaker included.
Thank you.
All right?
Yep.
I think that's reasonable. Councilor McCarthy, Ward 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I too will not be supporting Section 3, so before we debate the rest of it, can we take I put a motion on the floor that we take a roll call vote on Section 3, the petition for the 3 additional licenses, and we vote that out first, and then we'll take up the first part. Since the question is divided, I make a motion that we take up.
I'll second that motion.
All right, seconded by Councilor Monum, moved by Councilor McCarthy. The city clerk have that motion as moved and seconded? Ma'am?
On the 3
Just
blankets.
the amendment to.
No, that's not what you said.
Simple majority roll call.
You didn't make, you asked to remove it.
No discussion, Councilor.
Can't remove it, it's gotta be voted on.
Clarification. Oh, Councilor Pinto, at large.
I'd like
Sir.
clarification on this vote. I would like clarification on this vote, Mr. President, thank you.
Clarification as far as the majority and minority voting?
What we're voting on, Councilor.
I'll read the motion as it's handed to me. As official, as it's written by the city clerk. And it's being reviewed by Councilor Lovely as we speak.
The motion is to not adopt Section 3.
So
Correct?
a yea vote does not adopt Section 3.
Right.
Thank you.
No vote.
Well, the chair will decide what, how's it worded? Ma'am, are you happy with the way it's worded?
What was your motion?
Councilor?
My motion never got a...
Councilor Sosnowski.
Mr. President, through you to Councilor Lovely, my motion never got a second. All right, my motion was to do exactly this. It never got seconded, so it died. So now Councilor McCarthy has introduced the same thing, so...
Section 3.
No.
Vote on it. No, you wanted to strike.
You're making a motion.
Councilor McCarthy, you wish to have the floor on
Thank
your
you, Mr.
motion?
President. My motion was to take
No,
up,
my motion
we
was to
already
divide.
divided the question. So Council Sosnowski, I mean, he and I agree on our opinion on the same thing, but Council Sosnowski wanted to delete Section 3 from the order. We already divided the question. So therefore, my motion is to take up Section 3, which is now separate from the rest of it, with an up or down vote. That is my motion on the floor. So whichever way you do, if you could clarify, a yea vote means that we will be adopting Section 3, or a nay or a no vote will be deleting Section 3 in its entirety because it's a divided question. That's what I want in front of us.
Is the
Thank you, Mr. President.
council clear on Councilor McCarthy's remarks as to how this vote will be taken?
Yeah.
Councilor Lonan on the...
Mr. President, so I think then through you, I think there should be a friendly amendment because I think you had originally phrased your motion in the negative. So I'd like just you to amend your motion so that a yes vote means yes on Section 3, a no vote means no to Section 3 because it's less
Councilor
confusing.
McCarthy, is he correct?
I will yield to the
Barrister.
the barrister from across the aisle who has more legalese than I do. I just want a
vote on the question.
A vote on the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. City clerk is clear?
If we vote no, right? If we vote.
Clear as mud or crystal, correct?
But we're gonna
Pretty
vote on
much.
it. If it passes, I want this in it. Know what I'm saying? Mr.
You
President?
can go back to, oh, I see. Yeah.
See that,
Go ahead.
we're voting on 3 right now.
Is that where you want it, in Section
Yeah.
3?
Well, on both sections.
Councilor, you wish to be recognized?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you.
Councilor Sash.
This is what I'm getting at. We're voting on this now, and at the end of each section we vote on, I simply want that if we do believe in what we're voting on, I want it to say at the end, 3, Section D, this agreement shall forever remain a part of any license created by it. And all it is backing up the language, if you agree with it or not, that's all.
But
It
you
just means
didn't
that
get a
the
second
deal-
to your motion.
Right. I didn't bring it up yet.
Well, then this-
I'm bringing it up now.
You're bringing it up now?
Yeah, I'd like to bring it up
Is it
now.
seconded by a member of the council?
Well, I have to.
Lacking a second?
No,
It's not
but I
before
have
us.
a
He hasn't put it in the form of a motion, Mr. President.
It's not before us, Councilor.
I'm putting it before us.
Well, it has to be seconded.
I have to finish giving it to you before I can have a second. Okay? I move for an amendment that would make Section 3 have a Part D, and all it will say is, this agreement shall forever remain a part of any license created by it. And it just means this agreement stays as agreed to.
Is it
Okay.
seconded by a member of the city council?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Sosnowski, Ward 2.
Thank
Could you repeat it one more time?
Remarks, Councilor? Councilor Sosnowski, remarks?
This agreement shall forever remain a part of any license created by it. That's all.
Forever remain, and one more time, what was the rest, the end of it?
A part of any license that's created by it.
Counselor, did you write that out? Can you give that to the city clerk if you've written it out?
Yeah, to her now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Council Pelletier, on this matter?
Are we trying to rewrite straight law here? I mean, Section 3 deals with Section 17, Chapter 138,
Right.
and we're adding to it.
Mr. President.
I'll take one of my colleagues that are in the
Councilor
bar.
Lovely, you want to answer Council Pelletier?
Well, I think the answer to this is, if you go back to the very first paragraph, this is written in such a way that, let me read it, it's just so everyone hears it.
Somebody buys the license, they may not be buying the agreement. That's all.
To the end that the following legislation be adopted, except for amendments by the Senate or House of Representatives which conform to the intent of this home rule petition. What that says, and I'm sorry, I kind of just read the end of that sentence. What that says is that the House of Representatives can amend this. And if they don't like that language, they can probably delete it.
They could.
But,
But
if they like that language,
Right.
they can probably fine tune it. I don't know.
Right,
I'm not the
exactly.
legislature. But
Council Sergeant.
We understand that when it goes to the state legislature, that they can overrule anything we have in here, whether I add it or it's already in there. But this, all I'm asking for here is that any license created here, when it's sold, that the people who buy it keep to this agreement. This is what we're debating. If we're trying to, do certain things within this, that it stays that way. That's all, that it doesn't change one buyer, two buyers, three buyers down the road. If the license there, it goes under these conditions that we've debated very hard and divided the community in a way. But if we're gonna make an agreement, we have to stick by it.
Thank you, Councilor.
As with your mortgage to successors and/or assigned. You owe your mortgage to whoever the mortgage company sells your mortgage to.
Good analogy,
This
Councilor.
agreement is good to whoever buys it.
Good analogy, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Council Pelletier, do you have your hand up?
I have my hand raised.
And anyone on this side of the aisle?
Move the question.
you
Move the
wanna
question.
Adopt the amendment first?
We'll adopt the amendment first. The city clerk understands your
Yeah.
recommendation?
Counselor Sosnowski?
Mr. President.
You understand?
Mr. President, I'm a little confused here. Are we adopting an additional amendment? Or are we
Yes.
voting to accept or deny Section 3?
The amendment.
Adopting amendment.
Section D.
Section D.
Okay, understood.
Right.
Amendment
you.
first.
Madam City Clerk, do you have call the roll, please?
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
No.
Counselor Prevey?
Yes.
Counselor Pinto?
No.
Counselor Pelletier?
No.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
On the matter of the amendment of Section 3, parenthesis D, this agreement shall forever remain a part of any license that is created by it. And the vote was 7 in favor, 3 nays, and 1 absent. I declare it adopted, the amendment adopted. All right? Councilor Lovely. That it?
That's it?
That's it?
Move the question.
Move for immediate reconsideration and hope that it does not prevail.
All right, Councilor Sergeant moves for immediate reconsideration. I hope it will not prevail. All in favor of immediate reconsideration? One councilor, 2 councilors, 3 councilors, 3 councilors, all opposed?
Opposed.
The opposition favors. Opposed. Adopted. Councilor Lovely. Is that it?
No, we have a
On the
motion.
vote of section
Vote on the whole section?
3.
All right, city
Right.
clerk has it in front of her, written out?
A yea vote would accept section 3, a nay vote would
Deny it, did he repeat it?
defeat it.
Everyone clear on the matter?
On discussion.
Councilor Prevey, no discussion.
I think with the left side.
No discussion.
You want to, I mean, she could, Council, I think we, you have a question? Yes, I think we should listen to you. You want a question?
I don't have a question, I have a statement.
You're recognized, Councilor Prevey, Ward 6.
Appreciate it. Thank you. The entire question of whether we should have 3 additional home rule petition licenses and then hold them, I think, really is not a good idea. I mean, one of the things that we talk about is, we talk about the market. driving this. And that, you know, some people who spoke before the council and some of the letters and emails we got talked about, you know, telling government that we shouldn't be deciding who gets what and who does that. But we're doing that right now. We're inserted right in the middle of it. And by us supporting getting 3 new home rule petitions where we're going to hold them, you know, we're now controlling the table. We're the house. And so if restaurants want to come in, you know, they got to negotiate with the city. So I think the market in some respects is controlled by the current system. Is it a good system? No, it's completely flawed. And as Councilor Lovely had pointed out, it's something that developed out of prohibition. And this is a matter that I think the state needs to rectify. But unfortunately, just like a lot of things that happen at the state level, these crazy laws come out, and then they make these amendments, and then they put the responsibility on the local communities to try to resolve some of these problems. And I think the more we get involved in these home rule petition liquor licenses, the more we skew the system the way it is. We have 2 sets of restaurants in our community now. We have those that have home rule petition liquor licenses, and we have those that negotiate them through the regular market value. And I think before government even looks at trying to have additional home rule petition liquor licenses, I think we should do a market study. Most of the testimony that we've heard from people, either through letters, through phone calls, through people who have come before the committee or the council, all the testimony is based on their own perspective, obviously, their own understanding of what the market is. And a lot of it ends up being anecdotal. A lot of it, obviously, is based on people's keen business sense. And I think there should be a lot of weight put to that. But I think, it's like CVS. I remember I was talking with a gentleman one time. He's a developer for CVS's, and I was talking about, you drive all over the place and you see these CVS's popping up all over the place. It's like, how can you sustain these? He says, easy. We've done the market studies. We've put a lot of money into the market studies. They're sustainable. And so corporate CVS's put forward the money to put these CVS's up. It kind of defies what everyone kind of looks and sees as too many CVS's, but for CVS, it seems to be working because of, the analysis that they've done. And I don't know if that analysis has been done here in Salem. And so when you look at the city of Salem in the short term, is it great to have all these restaurants? Absolutely. I think we should support them as much as we possibly can. But in the long term, what's it going to do when we're looking at 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the road? Are we doing something that is going to sustain that and propel Salem forward? Or are we setting ourselves up where we have next year 4 additional restaurants that come into this city and thrive, and then we have 6 collapse for a variety of reasons? No doubt, there's never really any one reason. But I think we should hold on and really show a limited amount of involvement in this, because there is a market that exists. And the more we get involved in this, the more we're going to find ourselves right in the middle of it. And we're just going to expand our role in this thing. I said this before when I voted against prior home rule petition liquor licenses, and I'll say it again. For every person that comes to us and asks us for a home rule petition, it essentially has been granted for the most part. We haven't said no to anyone. So unless we have criteria, and that is still under discussion with the council, we can't say no to anyone. If the argument is we have to just give people the license so they can do business in Salem, there's no argument to be made not to at this point. So that's why I've been, pretty consistent in voting against these. I remember I voted for the first 2 that came in when I got on the council, and after that I just did not like what I was seeing, and I think we should completely slow down, do an analysis, and see if our community, our business community in particular, can sustain this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else wish to be recognized? Councilor Sosnowski, Ward 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very briefly here, because we have a long way to go here. One of the reasons why I'm going to be voting against this section here is because of a comment that Councilor Pelletier has made. We had the question asked and answered by authoritative sources on both sides. The question was, if I convert my license and I get an annual license, what happens to my old license? One authoritative source says it goes away, it evaporates. Another authoritative source says, oh, no, it's available for the next person. right? That is intent. That, when we get into the next sections here, I'll be getting into that separate argument. But that alone means we're voting on 7 licenses plus 3 more. We're going to have 7 more out there. So we're literally looking at 17 licenses here, all right? I mean, literally. I mean, and there's something wrong with this equation right here. I'll get into things later.
Any other remarks from any other member of the council? Council Lovely, or Council Pinto, at large?
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe we're discussing the home rule petitions. Are we discussing seasonal, both? Either way. As I said before last week, I'm opposed to both converting the seasonal and issuing more home rule petitions. And if we're going to go and issue a home rule petition that we don't even have criteria for, I mean, I think we're putting the cart before the horse. I don't know where the votes are. I don't know where it's going. I know what I'm voting against it. Now, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've gone out and I've made an attempt to talk to people in the business community because they're the ones that are affected by this. I'm not a businessman, and I wanted to hear what they had to say. And I look at the criteria that the chamber came up with, and the first thing on that was that there are no licenses available. And then I listened to a member of the licensing board stand up here and say that the Rockets were in to present them, to tell them they're going forward with their plan. They have a license. That's a pocket license. They don't do that in Peabody. They don't do that in Gloucester. They don't do it in other surrounding towns. They do it here, though. They've had it, they're holding it. Danvers is getting a hold on it. Danvers had people in. They want to know what's going on with the licenses. I also asked about the Exchange on Congress Street. Nobody knows what's going on with that license. That's a full liquor license down there. That restaurant hasn't been open, I think, for close to a year. That's a pocket license. Now, the criteria the chamber wants, the first thing was that there are no licenses available. 3 years ago, the lawyer for Tavern in the Square came in here, and when Councilor Prevey said, "Have you been actively searching for licenses?" his response was, "There aren't any." Well, there were. That's maybe why they're down there. I don't know. I supported that home rule petition. I did not support Greenland Cafe. I will not support any more home rule petitions until we get a grip on what's going on. I think we should cap it. I think we should see what happens. There's a lot of businesses that are hurting. I've talked to all of them. There's businesses down. Now, as far as the seasonals, Mr. President, this is the slowest time of the year. And other cities and towns issue seasonal licenses to seasonal businesses. They don't issue seasonal licenses to year-round businesses and then say, what do we do now? Well, Mr. President, if we do convert these seasonal licenses to year-round, okay, that's all well and good. All I'm saying is that we're in a position where seasonal licenses have been issued to year-round restaurants. In Gloucester, they have 73 licenses. 15 of them are seasonal. All 15 businesses are seasonal businesses. They don't have that. We do. Now, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I respect the licensing board. They're appointed officials. They do their job. But the reason we're here is because of what's gone on in the past. I think Councilor Prevey's right. I don't even think we should have anything to do with how many licenses people should have. We're a city council or a legislative body, but we shouldn't be sitting here saying, is 3 enough? Should we give them 2? Should we convert them? But unfortunately, either the licensing board, the administration, this has come to where it is now. So something has not been right. I look at other towns and communities, they have issues. But what we're facing now, it's almost like we're going to set a precedent. What we do, we're going to kind of set a precedent. And like I said, Mr. President, I don't know which way it's going to go. But I'm not anti-business. I think it's great that new restaurants come in here. I love all different kinds of foods. I've probably been in most of the restaurants here. All the people that talked, I've been in all of them. I grew up here. But I just think that we're going down a slippery slope, so we have to be very careful. And I don't know what's going to become of it down the road, what's going to be the repercussions 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other remarks? Any other council wish to make any remarks? Hearing none. Will the clerk read what the council will be voting on officially? What do you have as the matter before us on the petition?
To adopt Section 3.
I'll say, everyone understand?
Yes.
To adopt section, so
Clerk will
yes,
call-
a yes vote adopts.
Yes is for adoption and no is negative is for the fee. Yes is for adoption.
Yes.
And majority would be 6.
Mr. President.
6 votes in favor for adoption.
Yes.
Clerk will call the roll.
Hold on, Mr. President.
Oh, before,
Yes,
Councilor, sorry.
Yes is for adoption?
Yes.
What do you have,
May I speak? Again, I still have an amendment as at the end of the other one, that this agreement stays in perpetuity with the license. And I would
Put it
like
on
to
this
bring-
one. Put it on
So
this one.
we haven't even done section 3
Yes.
yet.
We did.
We amended it and added that. Section 3.
We just amended section 3.
Yes,
That's all we're voting on now, section 3.
We're on section 3 right now?
Yep.
That's
Thank you
next.
very much.
Clerk will read what the council is going to vote on it, so they'll know what their vote will be, one way or the
The
other.
yes vote will adopt section 3.
As amended.
Council understand? Clerk will call the roll, yes or no? Yea or nays?
Counselor Sosnowski?
No.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
Yes.
Counselor Prevey?
No.
Counselor Pinto?
No.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
No.
Counselor Lovely?
No.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
That's all.
On the matter of the adoption of section 3, the vote is 5 yeas, 5 nays, 1 absent. The matter is defeated.
For immediate reconsideration?
Councilor Sosnowski moves for immediate reconsideration and hope that will not prevail. All in favor of reconsideration? Council President is in favor of reconsideration. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Show of hands, opposed. 1, 2,
Vote, Mr.
3,
President. Should be
4, 5. All right. Denied, defeated. Need 6. Now what's before the council? What's the council's,
1, 2,
Councilor
4.
Sosnowski, Ward 2.
Thank you, Mr.
1, 2,
President.
4, and 5.
At this point in time, I'd like to
0,
take
5.
section 1
Oh.
and separate the 7 licenses into a group of 3 and a group of 4.
Have you committed that to writing, Councilor, for the city clerk, or do you understand what you want to do? Could you help her out when she's...
Well, the motion would be that we separate section 1 for the conversion of seasonal licenses.
Section 1,
All right.
yes.
I would like to separate Cafe Polonia, Howling Wolf Tanqueray, and Seaport Cafe.
Are those the malt?
Are they in
Are
here?
those the wine and malt?
Those currently have a seasonal beer and wine, beer or wine and malt, yes. And that the remaining 4, 62, the Coven, Engine House Pizza, excuse me,
What's he saying now?
4,
It's not
No.
Engine House.
5,
Excuse me.
Lobster Shanty and a Thai place. We separated
How
as
does
2.
that work for this?
Yeah.
Does everybody understand
You- how do you
Council's
do that with
recommendation,
this?
separation? Councilor Lovely. Question to Councilor Sosnowski?
Yeah, Mr. President, you can't name them by business.
You can't
It's
name
not
them.
in the home rule petition. So it's either got to be you divide out the 3 wine and malt from the 4 all alcohol. Okay.
The chair agrees with the council. You
Thank
can't
you.
name,
Yes,
you can't name entities, business entities in the legislation.
Thank you.
Councilor
Understood.
Sosnowski?
I would move for that separation.
Councilor Pelletier?
I would ask my
What grade?
colleague across the aisle to
Fine.
take back that motion, because it'll be dealt with at, I know his concerns, whether they're concerns about taxes or some other things, violations. I understand his point, but that'll be dealt with at the licensing board, you know, whether these licenses will go forward or not. If they don't get the license, maybe somebody else who wouldn't get one of these home rule petitions that we oppose, there's a couple of businesses here that aren't on this list, can maybe get one, all right? So I wouldn't, Council, I wouldn't separate them, okay?
Councilor Sosnowski, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is not an easy situation, first of all. I mean, everybody here understands that, all right? We were presented a list of criteria, and quite honestly, to me, it's not even criteria. It's, if you want to, you can obey these, and if you don't want to, you don't have to obey these. What kind of criteria is that?
Not in front of us.
I was looking, well, this is actually through Councilor Pelletier. He's asking me about certain questions about why we should separate or not.
Well, he's asking me through me to you.
Mr. President, what the point here is, we're supposed to be saying that everything's all set here to vote on these together, because the licensing board will take care of that. But under what criteria are they going to be acting? Are they going to be forced to use market value? Are they going to be forced to use the criteria that, quite honestly, that the Chamber of Commerce put forward, that's pretty decent criteria? All right, what criteria is the licensing board going to use if we put all these 7
Well,
forward?
Councilor, don't you think the city council should adopt this criteria at some point?
Mr. President,
All right.
Mr. President,
Wait a minute.
that's a separate order that we're going to get to, and we can discuss it. It's not before us, but we will discuss it right after this. It's just not
That's
before us right
understood,
now.
but what is before us is a request for me to take back the motion because there's criteria involved that's going to make this thing so easy to be dealt with.
Well, I don't think your motion was seconded to take back. So it wasn't before us to be voted. Unless, did someone second Councilor Sosnowski's motion? I didn't see any hands, didn't hear anybody, so it's not seconded. Councilor McCarthy, you haven't had anything to say. Councilor McCarthy, wisdom?
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand what my colleague across the aisle is trying to say. I think that we can address some of those issues by, if I would make a motion in section 4, that the last sentence after the sentence, the last sentence that has the comma and the wording after the comma says, unless the licensing authority agrees to enter into an agreement with the recipient license, which would be able to fee divided into multiple payments or prorated periods of time. Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
As much as I respect the seasonal businesses that came to town, and I respect the investment that they've made, if we are going to then, my next motion will be to insert some language as opposed to fee structure. I don't think that the city of Salem should be involved in financing a private business. We're basically going to try to finance their license. I think that there should be a time frame set up that they have. Is this wrong, Councilor Lovely?
Councilor McCarthy, you have the floor.
I have the floor.
No,
You have the floor. I'll
calm
recognize Councilor Lovely in a minute.
I
You
make
have
a
the
motion
floor.
to delete this language only because once we set a fee, once we come up with a fee, I think it should be payable in a certain time period, if that's the will of this body. I don't think that we should be in the business of financing a liquor license to a private entity, and therefore I would recommend that we delete the language after the comma.
All right, is there a second to
Motion.
Councilor McCarthy's motion? Second to Councilor McCarthy's motion fails for lack of a second, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you.
All right, Councilor Lovely.
Just a comment, Mr. President, just in a follow-up to the good Ward 1 Councilor's commentary motion. The licensing board is the statutory authority with fees and the structure and how those fees are going to get paid. We can insert language in here all day long. We don't have standing. The licensing board has the statutory authority. We want to make a strong recommendation to them, and we'll talk about the criteria, because the criteria will be in place from, you know, as soon as we can get it in place before these probably even make it back from the State House. But that's all. The licensing board will set the fee.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilor Pelletier, Ward 3.
Just to make it clear to my colleague across the aisle, we're not talking criteria right now because it's still in committee. It's going to come up. All right? So we'll get to that. This is going to take a process, Council. All right? We have plenty of time to work on this.
Any other remarks? Will the city clerk read the petition, read the motion as presented? I can't see you, ma'am, but can you read what the council will be voting on? Again, it's a simple majority vote.
The amendment of section 4A by deleting everything after the comma unless the licensing authority agrees to enter into an arrangement with the recipient of a license which would enable the fee to be divided.
it was seconded. No.
I didn't get a second.
All right. Get that, ma'am? The council's disagreeing with you on the wording.
This motion didn't get seconded either.
Wait a minute, ma'am. Well, let the city clerks get the thing straight. It's very important that it be done right.
I'm not sure what's
What about the
before us
assistant
now, because
city manager?
nothing got seconded.
Nothing before us.
Counselor Sosnowski didn't get seconded, and neither did Counselor McCarthy, right? Okay.
Nothing before us. Mr.
That
President?
wasn't adopted. You clear, Madam City Clerk? what the council will vote on?
There's nothing to vote on. Yeah,
Is the city clerk saying yes or no, Councilor Lovely, so I can recognize you?
She's saying there's nothing, there's no motions before us.
Oh, there's no motion before us.
Mr. President.
Councilor Lovely.
I would.
I'd like
Wonderful.
to
Thank you.
move that we adopt sections 1, 2, 4, and 5 of the home rule petition.
All right, is there a second to Councilor Lovely's motion?
Under
Councilor
discussion.
Ronan, seconded.
Under
That is a
discussion?
Remarks? Councilor Sergeant at large.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, at the end, I would just like to put language that this runs in perpetuity with the license. So,
Here.
You have it written, Councilor?
yes, I do.
All right, would you read
To
it?
the city clerk, going to
Out
read it.
loud so we can all hear it.
I just want to find that whether it goes under section 1 or at the end of section 5. The city. Section 1, North Side.
At the end of section
Take your
2.
time, Councilor, it's very
The end of
important to be
section
done
2?
right.
Maybe 2C.
The end of section.
No, either 1 or 2.
Oh, just at the end of the total agreement, because we have an agreement here, right?
Councilor Lovely, can you?
The end of
help-
it is actually
assist
after
Councilor
5, right?
Sergeant?
Maybe make section 5, section 6, and create a section 5?
Create a section 6. The
Well,
section-
section 5 is the last, would be the last, so make that section 6.
4. Make section 5, section, all right, make this section 5 and make section 5, 6. Okay.
And then just read the language of the clerk.
Section 5, we'll read, this agreement shall forever remain a part of any license that is created by it. This agreement shall also forever remain a part of any license that is surrendered to and reissued by the licensing board as a result of it. So
City
again,
clerk understands that language?
I'm going to hand it to her
gonna give
also.
it
Oh, she has it, oh, did you pass it to city clerk?
Again, it just,
Is it clear to
it just
her?
reiterates,
Is it clear to you,
yes,
Mrs. LaPointe?
yes,
All right.
sir.
Remarks on your motion?
thank you, Mr. President. It just reiterates the agreement, that if this is what we plan to do, that it stays this way, no matter who should buy, purchase, assign the license in the future.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Councilor Pinto, you wish to say something?
I'm all set.
No, all right.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Mr.
member? Councilor Sosnowski, Ward 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed here because I'm going to be voting against this. All right? There's three companies here that I think should have their licenses, but because everything's being grouped together at a price that I think is a slap in the face of all the existing businesses, I cannot in good conscience vote for this, so I'll be voting against this. Thank you.
Mike, we'll be
Councilor-
voting for the
Councilor
amendment
Sargent, you have your
first.
hand up?
Yes, I just want to make clear, we'll be voting on the amendment first.
That's correct.
So I would ask for your support on the amendment. Then we'll move on to the whole thing.
Which is
Is
seconded.
there a second on that?
Councilor Pelletier, you have a?
I'll second
Councilor
that.
Pinto, at
I'll
large.
second Councilor
You-
Sergeant's
So,
amendment.
well, it's always done by Councilor Maloney.
All right, second.
Roll call vote, Mr. President.
All right, Councilor Pinto, seconded.
Seconded Councilor Sergeant's motion.
Is everyone clear on the amendment or motion that Councilor Sergeant made, as the city clerk has in her hand, which she thoroughly understands, as she calls the roll?
Okay. Counselor Sosnowski,
This is on the amendment?
this is the
Yes.
amendment.
Yes.
Counselor Sergeant,
Yes.
Counselor Ronan,
No.
Counselor Prevey,
Yes.
Counselor Pinto,
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier,
No.
Counselor O'Keefe,
Oh,
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Lovely,
No?
Counselor Fury,
on the matter of amendment to section 5, this agreement shall, that language, the vote is 5 yeas, 5 nays, 1 absent. Matter is defeated. Any other matters before the committee? Councilor Lovely.
I think I put a motion before us to adopt.
Or do you want to reconsideration, hope it will not prevail, or?
No.
All right, very good. Anyone else? No? All right. Councilor Lovely?
Just, I believe there's a motion before us, Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
To
What
adopt
do you state the
sections
motion to be?
1, 2,
Could I ask
4.
for, could I?
Wait a minute, Councilor. Give her the chance. Go ahead, Councilor Lovely.
I would just like to ask for reconsideration, I have a moment to
You're
speak.
you're asking for
Yes.
reconsideration.
And
All in favor of reconsideration?
Could I
All in
could I
favor?
have a discussion? Okay, all right. No,
What is your pleasure, sir?
I'd just like a moment to speak and then ask for reconsideration. I just want to make sure that this was clear.
Councilor Sargent's moved for
No,
immediate.
There's no discussion, it's just a vote. when he's
That's all,
asking.
yeah, there's no discussion on reconsideration. It's yes or no.
All right.
All right, all in favor of immediate reconsideration? All in favor, which is yea?
Yes.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. Defeated.
So,
Show of hands, Counselor. If you wish to call a roll, I'll have the roll call. Hold the delegation
no, I
if you wish.
understand. I understand.
All right. Counselor Lovely.
Move the question, Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
Move the question. The motion on the floor is to adopt the home rule petition with sections 1, 2, 4, and 5.
All right, Counselor
And I believe it has
Lovely's
second by Counselor
advise the
McCarthy.
council that home rule petition, section 1, 2, and 4 and 5 are before us. Counselor McCarthy, Ward 1.
I second that on discussion.
Yes, sir. Discussion, Counselor, seconded by Counselor McCarthy.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Mr. President. As with the section 3 deleted, I will stand in support of this tonight. It's a very difficult decision. There are a bunch of businesses in town that have been here. I just want to say that when we move forward with the criteria, I will be pushing for the language which was deleted from the petition. I listened to Councilor Lovely, thank you for that. I understand why that language can't be deleted at this time, but I just want to say that I would strongly urge the licensing board. I don't think we're in the business of, if the businesses that exist already under the current way that they operate under seasonal licenses wish to gain value, if you will, for lack of a better word, by operating those additional 3 months, then they should pay for that. And if they're gonna pay for that, they have to have the understanding of the fact that they're gonna pay for it because now they've got an asset. They've been granted an extra 3 months, but in all effect and reality is they've been granted a license which is full year, which then in turn has value. And I wanna make sure that everyone realizes that that value isn't based on just 3 months. It isn't $15,000 if it turns out that the last 3 license sales and it averages out to $60,000, then that value is $60,000 for a full liquor license. It isn't 15, it's 60. And that entity, whatever they may be, would have whatever period of time to come forward with the $60,000 or remain the way they are. Remain seasonal. If that's what they did, if they determine that in their business model, $60,000 for a full liquor license isn't worth the additional 3 months, or isn't worth the chance that for whatever reason, maybe business, family, personal, whatever, that they decide to sell, then that license, as amended to include the additional 3 months, does have value. It has value to their business, it has value to their location, and as in the language in there is, they could sell it within the B5. And we heard testimony from restaurateurs that most restaurants that fail, if they do, God willing, I don't want them to fail, but if they do fail, mainly a restaurant comes back and takes over the same location because it is very costly to outfit a space with ovens and Ansel hoods and whatever other, sprinkles, whatever else needs to go into that structure. So I will support what's in front of us tonight, but I will strongly attend every license and order legal affairs meeting with regard to criteria. I sat with Councilor Sargent when we first drafted that. I fully realized that language needs to be amended. I have, in the discussions, I've read every email that's anyone sent to me. I listened to all the phone messages on my phone. I hear what people are saying. I understand it. I am not, as Councilor Lovely stated earlier, I am not a restaurateur. I don't know saturation. I don't know if a market study will help, but I know for a fact that the chamber came in here. George, is he still there? There he is, over from Finn, sorry. He came in as a member of the chamber. He stated that it doesn't make sense for the 3. I agree with that. If the seasonals are going to get rolled over, which these businesses are already up and running, I support that because they're already here. Until such time as that criteria is adopted, there can be 20 home rule petitions lined up in front of us, but I'm not going to make a motion on one of them until we adopt that criteria. And I don't know if it's putting the cart before the horse or maybe a little backwards, but I will adopt what's in front of us tonight. But I would just want those businesses and anybody else coming down the road to understand that if we're going to do this, it needs to be done fair. I understand that. And those businesses already exist. God love them for coming to Salem. I think it's great. But they have to understand that comes, if they're going to take their seasonal license, that basically allows them to operate for those amount of months, and they want the additional months for their business model, then that comes with a price tag. And I will push to make sure that that price tag, that the licensing board realizes that price tag should be what fair market value is for the whole year. Because it's not just about 3 months, it's about the whole year. Because once you get that, it becomes a commodity, and it becomes valuable to them. And it's just the same as every other business that waited the 1 or 2 years or whatever it is. So I will support what's in front of us tonight, but I just want to just for the record say that I will also be backing the criteria that will make these conversions, because nowhere in this does it say anything about the rate of conversion. That rate of conversion, I will take that up under the criteria.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Lovely, as a chair, can the chair ask you a question about this criteria? What is the status, and when will the committee expect this to be wound down?
Mr. President,
That's, as a member of the committee,
the next committee report talks about criteria. It's just,
It does.
The very next one.
And that's-
So we can
okay.
discuss it under
Thank
that.
you.
And I'd be happy to answer that question. Mr. President, remarks?
Thank you.
Remarks?
Let me ask Councilor Pelletier, then I'll ask you. Councilor Pelletier, you had your hand up first for my question to the chairman.
Can we suspend the rules to do the criteria vote before we do this vote? No. Okay, all right. Because I want to speak to the criteria before we have this vote, too. Because
Well, that's not before us, Councilor. We're just, the criteria is
I'll
not...
limit it to the criteria. I'll limit it not to the criteria, okay? If you think I'm off base, Mr. President, you call me.
I'm not going to call you out of order.
What we're dealing with is 7 seasonals, okay? These businesses went into business, they couldn't get a full liquor, most of them couldn't get a full liquor license, so they took a seasonal just to get started, and hopefully down the road, they'd get a full liquor license, okay? Now, I appealed to my brother across the aisle from Ward 2, not to shut out a few businesses and leave the rest, or don't vote because he has problems with it. The Committee on Coordination and Legal Affairs, which he's a member, I'm a member, you're a member, we will deal with this criteria at that point. And that'll give us an option to do what we can only recommend to the licensing board, but I think when we had our last meeting, with Mr. Casey was in here, I talked to the chair about having a meeting with the licensing board, co-posted with the Committee on Coordination and Legal Affairs. I think that'll be very good.
Councilor, point of order.
What?
Let me explain. If the council adopts this criteria, the licensing board has to abide by it. They don't have any question that they can do something else.
I beg to differ.
Oh, I disagree. I'd like to hear the chairman talk about this criteria
all
that
right.
they can mess with over there.
That's fine.
All right. Councilor Lovely.
I am in support of this, by the way.
I know, sir. Thank you. Councilor Lovely.
2 things, Mr. President. Just for housekeeping, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment that when this passes, that Section 1 remain as it is, and Section 2, that Section 4 be renamed as Section 3, and that Section 5 be renamed as Section 4. Just for housekeeping.
Oh, so you're renumbering them.
Well, once it
Yeah.
goes back to the solicitor
Right.
being written.
So it's 2, 3, and 2, 3,
It's gonna
and
be
4.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
and
1,
4.
2, 3, 4. All right.
Because 3's
Right.
been defeated, so.
Right.
That's correct. That's out.
Second that motion.
Thank you.
Seconded by Councilor Ronan. Remarks, ma'am?
Just a quick remark about,
Sure.
because Councilor McCarthy raised it about the fee structure that is now the responsibility of the licensing board. There is a bit of a leap of faith here that the licensing board is going to set the appropriate fee. I've talked to a couple of members of the board and hopefully, in my opinion, it'll come back at what as I think George Perry had said, look at the past licenses that have been sold, maybe take an average, and take a look at it that way, based on whether it's a beer, wine, or an all alcohol.
Well, ma'am, the
Because-
council accepts and ascertains all fees for permits and licenses. The council does. And it's in the ordinance. Why don't we do it for them?
Not this fee.
No?
We
All right.
don't. Alcohol, we don't. But anyway, so
All right.
there's a bit of a, so I'll be going to those licensing board meetings and then
All right.
encourage the board to accept.
We'll coordinate all that.
Yes, exactly. But
Any other
move-
questions of
move the question,
Councilor?
Mr. President.
Move the question by Councilor Lovely. Any other questions? Well, the question has been moved. The clerk will call the roll. Everybody understand what we're voting on? 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Is the first motion to amend?
Do we need a vote on it? Do you want to vote?
Well,
on it?
why don't we vote on
Friendly
it?
Yeah.
amendment?
I
Okay.
would think just a hand vote for the amendment for the,
Councilor, the chair rules, not the individual councilors. All right. All right. Thank you, Councilor Long. Clerk will call the roll.
No. This is on the amendment,
This is on the amendment.
to renumber.
Renumber 1, 2, 3, and 4.
We don't need a roll call
It's
vote,
now
Mr.
1,
President.
2, 4, and 5.
Right,
We're
we
going to
don't-
change it to 1, 2, 3, and 4, correct?
I don't believe we need a roll call, just a hand.
All right, fine, ma'am. All in favor? Hold, there, unanimous. Boom. All right, we agree on something. Next one. Ma'am?
On the final adoption.
Final adoption of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, ma'am.
Right. The yea vote is in
You
favor.
move? Move in favor? Roll call.
Roll call vote.
Clerk will call the roll. Council Pinto, before question?
Yes, Mr.
A
President.
yea and no vote?
Clarification.
Go ahead, sir.
On what we're voting on, please. Clarification on what we're voting on next, please.
We're voting on the provisions of this home rule petition, 1, 2, renumbered, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
We already did that.
That's what we're voting
No,
on.
we didn't.
Okay.
Right? This amendment.
Now roll call vote.
All right, Counselor, you're shaking your head, Counselor Pelletier.
No, it's not me.
Sir, I didn't hear you. You're way back
I'm
there.
all set, thank you, Mr.
All right, sir,
President.
you're all set. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Counselor Lovely,
The motion before us is to adopt the home rule petition as amended.
as amended by 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Thank you.
We're eliminating 4 and 5. Is that clear to everyone?
No, we're eliminating
All right.
just 3.
All right. Oh, Counsel, come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Sosnowski?
No.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
Yes.
Counselor Prevey?
No.
Counselor Pinto?
No.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Chair has to declare the vote first, then you can make whatever motions you want. On the matter of the home rule petition, adopt sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 as amended. And the vote was 7 in favor, 3 opposed, 3 nays, and 1 absent. I declare it adopted.
Mr. President?
Councilor Pelletier, you have a question? You had your hand up before,
Move for
Councilor.
immediate consideration and hope that
All
it
right,
will not prevail.
Councilor. Hand vote, immediate reconsideration. All in favor of reconsideration, have your hands up. All opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed, have it. Denied.
Mr. President,
Councilor Lovely.
next committee report, Mr. President.
Council, committee report.
Thank you. City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-hosted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of Order Number 468, adopt criteria for home rule petitions for additional liquor licenses, has considered said matter, would recommend that the matter remain in committee.
Remarks, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Chairman?
So we've had several, well, we know the history that a subcommittee was put together to put criteria together. They worked on this for about a year, I think. Put together some very, very good criteria. It came to the full council late in last year, where we started to debate it. And actually, Mr. President, at the recommendation of the administration through the city solicitor, our last meeting, she recommended that the committee have it remain in committee because we're not ready to vote on the criteria as it was presented to us. There were some questions that arose that this criteria doesn't fit into, and I'll give you a specific for example, because it's the one that we kind of discussed. There's a business in Salem that has a beer and wine license that would like to convert to an all alcohol, and there's probably a number of those now that would like to do that. And we don't have provisions in here to oversee that. We don't have criteria in here, so we need to go back and just tweak this a little bit. And when I say tweak, we're going to put the subcommittee, a subcommittee back together, take a look at it. By and large, it's you know, most of this is adoptable, but we, again, at the recommendation of the administration through the solicitor, we need to tweak it a little more. My anticipation is to have this turned around well before those home rule petitions return from the State House.
Do you have a date certain, ma'am?
I don't, but it's in committee. I'll get it scheduled in the next couple weeks.
Council Pelletier, thank you, ma'am. Council Pelletier.
I want to thank Councilor Lovely. We did put it back in committee because it needed work, and like she said, we'll have plenty of time to work on it before these licenses come back. And I thank Councilor McCarthy, not being a member of the committee, for coming up with.
Any other remarks on the recommendation of the chairman of the Committee on License, Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs? Hearing none, Hearing none? All in favor? Opposed? So voted. Councilor
Motion, we
Pelletier.
go back to the,
Wait a minute. Go ahead, sir. What is your motion?
motion to return back to the regular scheduled meeting.
All right, all in favor of returning? I'll get the
2-minute
council
recess?
president. I'll get the council president to come back. Wherever he is. 2-minute recess. All in favor, 2-minute recess? Hearing up. 2-minute recess.
What do you,
Page 2.
all right, page 2, hearings, none. Appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's reappointment of the following to serve as constables with the following terms to expire. Ronald Bertheim, term to expire February 25th, 2014. James Danforth, term to expire February 1st, 2014. Ruth Ann Davis, term to expire February 6th, 2014.
Council Lovely?
Move they be received and placed on file.
Council Lovely move that they be received and placed on file. All's in favor? Communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $55,250.30 to Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account for the retirement of Barbara Fortunato and Kathleen Hayes of the school department.
Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Council McCarthy moves for suspension of the rule on acceptance of the report.
No, suspension of the rules.
Discussion?
On discussion.
I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Council-
No discussion.
Council McCarthy moves to be referred to Administration and Finance. On adoption of the recommendation. All
All those in favor?
all those in favor? Opposed? Further communications from the mayor?
We have a transfer of $2,000 from receipts reserve sale of vaults to cemetery burial account.
Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
On acceptance of the report?
No discussion.
No discussion? All right, on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? On adoption of the recommendation? Okay. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a transfer of $1,100 from fund balance free cash to data processing maintenance account.
Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Council Lovely?
Time sensitive?
No, could I, under discussion, could I
Under
just
discussion, sure.
have a quick discussion on it? Actually, this, I know about this one, not being a member of Administration and Finance Committee. If you read the letter, the transfer is necessary to cover the cost to allow all board and commission agendas to be available for subscription to our residents per the Sunshine Ordinance. Currently, when someone goes online and they want to get a subscription to have certain board and commission agendas automatically emailed to your account, you can only get so many. It's not unlimited. It's not as many as we have. So I don't know the exact number. I want to say it's maybe 8 or 10. But we have many boards and commissions. So, you know, residents that really want to follow every board and commission, they can't get the agendas emailed to them or when the meeting's going to take place. This appropriation of this additional $1,100 will allow that to happen. It's actually a pretty inexpensive way to really allow our residents kind of unlimited access to these agenda items and you know, meeting minutes, things like that they desperately want. We've talked about this in Sunshine Committee a lot, and I want to thank the administration for putting it forward. Actually, I don't have an objection to have it go to A&F. I won't be probably at that meeting, but I just wanted to explain what it was, and it's just money well spent. Thank you.
Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I withdraw my motion because I think that I, too, was at some of the Sunshine Committee meetings, and there was discussion about this with regard to expanding the database allowable to do this. And in the interest of being compliant with the Sunshine Ordinance, I feel I would urge my colleagues to vote for this. I mean, it's $1,100. It's definitely for upgrading software. So at this time, I withdraw my motion to send it to committee and ask for a motion for approval.
You need suspension of the rules to vote on it tonight?
No. No, Mr. President, I did not.
Okay. All right, so then we have a vote to approve it?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Pinto?
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, February 10th, 2011, ordered that the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment meet to discuss the matter of the status of an appeal for a 400-ton permit issued to Northside Carting by the Board of Health.
Thank you. Under discussion?
Under discussion, Mr. President. Yes, as most of the colleagues know, about a year ago, we had a meeting, the Board of Health had a meeting in regards to the transfer station of changing the permit from 100-ton to 400-ton. Quite a few of us attended the meeting. It's been a little over a year, Mr. President, and I just thought I would bring this in, we'd bring the city solicitor in, and we just ask some questions as to how the appeal's going, what the status of it is, actually what the procedural status of it is, because I really don't know how they work. So I know it's been about a year. I received a few calls from constituents, some of the people, I know some of the businesses and some residents up at Fafad filed this appeal. So I have received some calls as to the status of it. So I thought I would call a committee meeting, bring the city solicitor in, and ask some questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Which committee was it going to?
Public Health, Safety, and Environment, Mr. President.
On Councilor Pinto's order to meet to discuss the Public Health and Safety Committee to meet to discuss the status of an appeal of the 400-ton permit issued Northside Carting. All those in favor? Opposed? Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a resolution regarding worker safety at the J. Michael Roraine Courthouse building after a recent near-fatal accident with a stone falling off the building that I'm bringing in on behalf of the Mass Building and Trades Council, Francis X. Callahan, Jr., President. And I'd just like to read it and then discuss it a little bit, if I could, please.
Okay.
City of Salem and City Council, February 10, year 2011, a resolution. Whereas the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, through the Division of Capital Asset Management, is in the midst of construction of a new $106 million court complex in downtown Salem to be known as the J. Michael Roraine Judicial Center. And whereas a serious accident involving a stone panel falling from the building occurred on June 15, 2010 at the site of the new court complex that resulted in serious injury to a worker on the job site. And whereas an investigation recently completed by DCAM has determined that the masonry contractor on site, Lighthouse Masonry, incorrectly attached the panels to the building that caused the accident by using incorrect and substandard screws. And whereas it is in the best interest of local officials to make certain that construction of the court complex is completed in a safe manner that will avoid worker injuries and help ensure that the building is safe and secure to patrons and passers-by following completion as well. And whereas Lighthouse Masonry is still working on this project despite a history of prior safety violations and recent decertification by DCAM. Now therefore be it resolved by the Salem City Council as follows. That the City Council hereby requests that DCAM take any and all action necessary, including removal and debarment of the current masonry contractor, to make certain the safety of workers during the remainder of construction, and to ensure safe and secure passage at building to future patrons, employees, and passerbys that will be utilizing the core complex upon its completion. Under discussion.
Under discussion.
Discussion. Yeah, that was a near-fatal accident. A very large granite block came off the building. And when I mentioned the substandard screws, it brought my attention back to the Big Dig, where they used and purposely tried to shave money and used the wrong bolts on the heavy ceiling panels. And one of them fell down and killed a woman driving by in her car. And you know, and recently in downtown Salem, we had a roofer killed when a heavy bag of some kind of building material fell and landed on him. And that was right in downtown Salem at the Dunkin' Donuts right across the street. Not at the Dunkin' Donuts, excuse me, nothing, but at that building. There was a roofer going up there. And it just reminds me in some ways of our own school buildings where we pay good money to bid, and people get the bid and they're leaking a few years later, and we can't always do anything about it. So that's some of the things that came to mind when I was reading through this. And these screws were substandard, and that block fell off, and if that hadn't fallen off, then others may have come later as people were going to and from the building when it was completed and people passing by. So with that in mind, and also knowing that the contractor can still work there, because with decertification, they're not allowed to bid on it. But what happens is they can still work as a subcontractor under somebody else who has bid. So that's why they're asking for us to go a step further. Because right now, they got step one in a reprimand. And step one allows them to continue to work under another contractor that did a bid even though they didn't do the bid. And with this, there's kind of a lengthy history of other problems with that contractor. And granted, the state is going to make their decision based on investigations. But I just wanted to have us go on record as supporting worker safety down there.
Can I see the resolution?
Yeah, sure. Take that. And I think, last but not least, is certain things are under discussion and open for interpretation and can be debated and compromised. Things like whether it's union or not, non-union place, what the price is, things like that. But I just hope that worker safety won't be compromised, now in the future on any project. And that's what I'm asking us to support, is that this contractor compromise worker safety in what he's done. And that's what the resolution supports, is not compromising worker safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Sergeant. Councilor Ronan?
Yes, Mr. President. I'm very familiar with this accident. It took place literally right across the street from my office. Everyone in the office went out immediately after the accident, and the gentleman that was hit by this falling stone was tragically injured. And I don't minimize in any way the ordeal that he went through and is still going through. However, this resolution is completely misplaced. As my day job, I'm a lawyer, and I try a lot of personal injury cases, including construction accident cases. And basically, there are two sides to every story. I came in tonight, I didn't know about this particular resolution. I don't know one way or another whether or not this mason used the wrong screws because they were given to him by somebody else, whether or not there's an enormous variance in the size of the screws that we used, whether or not that's a legal technicality or not. But I don't think it's right for us as a legislative body to all of a sudden in this resolution assess liability against this mason, ask for his debarment and removal from the site without knowing any more. Someday, this matter will be litigated, and it'll be litigated on both sides. The mason will have an attorney that will present his case. The injured worker will have an attorney to represent his side of the case. But for us to pretend that we know anything about this particular accident, the cause, I mean, we know the result, but it's, there'd be ramifications right now if we assess blame by way of this resolution. Essentially, we're giving somebody a document where there's a finding by the City Council of Salem that somebody was negligent and that this accident was caused in a certain way. None of us are in a position to make that call right now. I mean, I got this material, and not to say that perhaps this was shoddy work, perhaps it was the mason, but this is the situation where every time there's a tragic accident in Salem, I don't want to make a resolution and condemn one side or another. I mean, we're not a jury of 12. We're not hearing any case here. I mean, this is just a resolution that was presented. Don't vote in favor of this resolution because we haven't heard the other side. We haven't heard any of the facts here. And I know it was a tragic accident, and I can tell you that I don't minimize in any way the plight that this particular worker, he was actually literally having his coffee break at the time. He wasn't part of the Mason crew. He was just sitting out there having his coffee, and this stone fell actually from the corner of the building and hit him in the leg. and that's how the accident happened. It's tragic, but it isn't our function to come up and assess blame here by way of resolution. So I would ask that we not pass this resolution, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, Mr. President. A question of Councilor Sargent. Didn't I read an article in the Salem News that DCAM had assessed blame to this contractor for the wrong type of fasteners? Wasn't there a little...
Yeah, Mr. President.
Councilor Sargent.
And that's what's in the resolution. If I could, I'll reread this part. Regardless of how you vote, an investigation recently completed by the Department of Capital and Asset Management has determined that the masonry contractor on the site, Lighthouse Masonry, incorrectly attached the panels to the building and caused the accident by using incorrect and substandard screws. Now that, and it wasn't one, it was, they had to take all the panels down and redo them with the right screws. And there is a little bit of history, and I'm not asking to put them on trial. I'm just asking that we're asking DCAM to take action necessary based on their own investigation. That's all.
Thank you.
Not on our investigation, based on their own investigation.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of Council Sargent's resolution regarding the courthouse incident? All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed?
How was the vote, Council?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you opposed? 6. Opposed? 7. You're opposed? 8.
Is 2 in favor? Myself and Councilor Sargent.
I'm in favor.
3. Thank you.
Non-binding resolution.
Okay. So 3 in favor, 8 opposed. The resolution goes down. Councilor Fieri?
On the motions and orders?
Yep. Motions, further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fieri.
Please. February 10th, 2011, in the City Council, ordered the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, shall meet to discuss the Section 2, 1-142, compensation for the mayor, with the city solicitor and the representative of the mayor. Under this Section 142, during the first 3 months of the City Council's biennial organization, commencing January 2011, the matter of the mayor's compensation shall be reviewed by the City Council Committee on Administration and Finance, and the recommendation reported to the City Council no later than the first meeting in April. The committee shall recommend the salary of the mayor for the subsequent 2 fiscal years. Under discussion?
Under discussion, Councilor Fieri.
Please.
Because it's not on the agenda.
No,
He could bring it in.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
We now have a window of opportunity to review the
I thought it
salary.
goes right to committee.
You cannot take action on it.
Okay.
We can't discuss it.
It has to go to
Take
committee.
action on it. That if it
That's
goes
what
to
I'm going. If you
committee,
run to committee.
it's okay.
What's that?
Right. Right.
You can
If
discuss
I
it,
kn-
but the rest of, there's no
I'm
discussion
sorry.
on the
If
rest.
I know about an order coming in, I'm putting it on. But the rule is that if it doesn't come in before to get on the agenda, you can't take action on it. So he's not. It's going to committee. You could not adopt.
I didn't think we could discuss it.
Yeah,
I thought
I
it had
think
to
you
go
can.
right to committee.
No, we can just,
Move straight to committee under the ordinance.
We
That's
can-
what I'm trying to bring it to. Exactly.
we can discuss it as long as it's going to committee and it's not
Yes.
being voted on tonight.
It's not inside, it's just going to committee. It's automatically by our ordinance. As council president asked me to do this.
When we put the order, when you changed the mayor's salary last time, we put this language into the thing. If you look in the ordinance book to do exactly what Council Fieri is doing, I asked him to bring this in for me because we have to do this. It's in, when we set the mayor's salary 2 years ago, we put it in there that we were going to meet the first 3, the exact language you just read.
Exact, I read it. This section sets into a professional process to set the mayor's salary. The job is very challenging and demanding. The chief executive is the chief of the city executive and the chairperson of the school committee. We need to attract the best and the brightest, so we should compensate the mayor professionally and fairly in this process. I hope we'll be fair and sincere. Thank you very much. And this just goes straight to administration and finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second motion?
Second on the motion to send.
Second motion to go into administration and finance? The second motion going to administration and finance. Okay.
You need to vote.
Do we
You need to vote on it. You need to
This
vote
is-
on it.
You're still on the mayor's thing, right?
No, that
Need
wouldn't.
to
Wait,
vote.
we need to vote on
Okay,
it.
thank you. Okay.
Was there a second to send it to, Council Pelletier seconded, to send it to Committee, Administration and Finance? Co-posted with Committee of the Whole. Was there any other further discussion on the mayor's salary thing? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fieri.
On a very similar notion, if I may, the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, shall discuss the compensation for members of the school committee. Effective July 1st, 1989, the members of the school committee, with the exception of the mayor, shall receive a stipend of $2,500 for expenses for the fiscal year for their services. The sum shall be paid in one lump sum the first week of December following the expiration of the fiscal year. Invited to this meeting, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, are members of the school committee, city solicitor, and a representative of the mayor's office. Under discussion? In 1989, when I was on the school committee, many moons ago, school committee, Tom Billings and I made this motion. It has been almost 22 years since we made the compensation. And now Dr. Walsh, a member of the school committee, and fellow members of the school committee wish for consideration review. For many of us who have attended their meetings, watched their meetings on SATV, read articles in the Salem News and the Salem Gazette, and when they come to us during the budget session, we recognize and respect the role and responsibility of the school committee. We are very blessed and lucky to have the caliber and commitment of the school committee and they bring to public service. Dr. Walsh wants us to consider a two-thirds compensation provided to members of the city council. And he just wants a discussion to review that compensation to be sent to Administration and Finance. Thank you.
Co-posted with the Committee of the Whole?
Co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, Mr. President.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of sending that matter to Administration and Finance, co-posted with Committee of the Whole? Actually, is there a second? Do I need a second? Council?
Don't need a second.
Okay, wasn't sure. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Wish to be marked as opposed, Council Field?
No.
Oh, okay.
In favor.
Passed. Further motions, orders, and resolutions? Councilor Sosnowski?
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I have a gentleman with us tonight who's been very, very patient with us tonight. As we all know, Salem has a very, very, very wonderful historic past. Toward that end, I have a letter here that pretty much explains what I'm going to be going to here in the next two motions I'm going to bring forward, orders actually. All right, and what I should do is introduce the first order and then under discussion explain. City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011, ordered that the Committee on Community and Economic Development meet to discuss the location and subsequent installation of a plaque commemorating the birthplace of General Glover, who was born in the general area of what is now St. John's Church parking lot, and that the following be invited: members of the Salem Veterans Council, Veterans Agent Jean Guy Martineau, Building Inspector Tom St. Pierre, DPW Director Rich Renard, Assistant Director Ron Malione, Jane Guy from the Historic Commission, City Solicitor Elizabeth Renard, Father Paul Bresnahan, Pastor of St. John's Church, and a representative of the Marblehead Historic Society.
Under discussion?
Under discussion. What we have here, every year we honor the birthplace of Salem being the birthplace of the American militia and the National Guard of the entire nation. Toward that end, Colonel Moran has orchestrated, when he was the commander of the 2nd Corps Cadets, a wonderful celebration of the muster, and he would get people here every year. Part of that celebration was the 2nd Corps Cadets would go down to St. Peter's Church, and there's a spot there where there's actually the birthplace of General. Which one did I bring in here first? General Glover?
General Glover.
Okay. Well, General Glover, who's a very storied general who did a lot of work here, he, you know something, at this point, why don't I ask suspension of the rules to address the council? Because it'd be an awful lot easier if you were to address them referring to this.
Any objection? Okay, Colonel Moran.
Thank you very much. I didn't realize I'd be speaking tonight, but every year, and it started with General Abbott, who was became an adjutant general of the Commonwealth. And I'll just drop back a few centuries and a decade or two. He was also a captain in the Massachusetts militia during the American Revolution. Became friends with George Washington and entertained him at his home on Washington's visits to Salem. And he also provided us with one of the first and the best cadet schools in the country at the time. It's older than West Point. It was started in 1785, and so this was the person we honored because he ultimately was the first commander that came down to us in our National Guard Armory, which had many numerical changes, but we basically know it as the old 2nd Corps of Cadets. 101st Artillery, First World War, 102nd Artillery. Now it's the remnants of it are over in Danvers Armory, Alpha Battery. Has a terrific war record. Fought with Patton, Second World War, and also it freed Mauthausen concentration camp during the Second World War. A lot of people don't realize that. So we wanted to honor Abbott by having a square, and that's the crux of this. The other thing was General Glover, who was actually the first commander of the first ship in the American Army, which we eventually turned over to the Navy, and he too, with his fine record of in Brooklyn, saving the troops at the disastrous Battle of Washington Heights, and then later on the crossing of the Delaware, both ways, and as we like to say in the old Army, cleaning a British clock. But anyway, both these gentlemen, they're our heroes, and it would behoove us to honor them with the naming of their respected places in Salem, on either side of St. Peter's, St. John's for Glover. Glover, we got tired of putting the flowers next to a tree year after year, so I made a wooden sign with stick-on letters, and I put some cable ties around the tree. I know it's illegal, and to go before the planning board, but we thought it was going to be up there for a day. It's been up there for 3 years. We can't believe it. But anyway, we truly feel that these people, they did great things for not only Salem, brought honor and glory, but also to our nation, and this is the crux of the whole thing. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colonel Moran has absolutely nailed it again, as usual. Thank you, Colonel. All right. That first order that I put in there was to find a location for a plaque, because we had an occasion where we had to move a commemorative plaque that was on private property. The actual birthplace is actually on church grounds, and we could put a plaque there. However, not knowing what the Archdiocese may or may not do, it may be private property in the future, and I don't want to have to move a plaque again at some point. So we're going to try to find a location across the street, maybe in that oval rotary that's opposite the church, just saying that, so many feet, such and such a direction was the birthplace of General Glover. All right. So I would move that would be adopted first, and then I'd get to the second one here.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this? Okay. All those in favor of moving the committee? Opposed? Passes. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. In City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011, ordered that the Committee on Community and Economic Development meet to discuss naming the intersection of Brown and New Liberty Streets as Major General Stephen Abbott Square, and that the following be invited: members of the Salem Veterans Council, Veteran Agent Jean Guy Martineau, Building Inspector Tom St. Pierre, DPW Director and Assistant Director Dick Renard, Ron Malionic, Jane Guy from the Historic Commission, City Solicitor Elizabeth Renard, and Father Paul Bresnahan, pastor of St. John's Church. All right. Again, essentially, this is, we wanted to name the square after this gentleman because it's just so fitting that he be honored again like that. That being said, the actual place where we wanted to put this actually is already named a square. So rather than do that at the corner of St. Peter and Brown Street, we wanted to move it a little bit further on down to the corner of Brown and New Liberty. And as we did the research on this, it actually becomes more appropriate because right there, where is currently the mall, was actually the house he lived in and the store that he owned. So it would be a fitting location for that site, but I mean, we need to send that to committee for that discussion to take place and then be ratified. And I would move for approval.
Approval. Any further discussion? Council Sosnowski moved to send this to committee. All those in favor? Opposed? Passed. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I only have two more. I know the hour is late, but we have some very important things to discuss. Let me take an easy one first. City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011. Order that the Committee on Community and Economic Development meet to discuss the possibility of opening up Essex Street from New Liberty Street to Hawthorne Boulevard to two-way traffic, and that the following be invited: representatives from the Police Department, the Parking Board, the Fire Department, and the Chamber of Commerce.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Currently, right now, you go to the parking garage, and at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, could you pass it down, please? Whatever time it is, you're getting out of the garage, you have no option. You have to come down, take a left on New Liberty Street, and you wait there forever. And then Brown Street's congested, St. Peter Street is congested, that section of Federal Street is congested, it just clogs. You have 1,000 cars trying to leave in a mass exodus with only one way out, and it clogs the Common at the end down by the Witch Museum. It's just a nightmare for everybody, and people start racing down side streets. What I'm proposing is we look at the possibility of being able to go left or right as you come out of the exit of the museum. If you take a right, you'd have to turn left again to go down Essex Street. That would then be a two-way street going toward Hawthorne Boulevard. And so I want to discuss the possibilities, and naturally we would invite the ward councilors here as well. All right? We need to talk about this and see if that's viable, see if it can be done without interfering with things that go on there. And if we can do it, then let's do it. Even if it's on a trial basis, let's see if we can do it. I mean, it would certainly help everybody trying to leave the garage, and certainly take some of the load off of some of the streets. Because right now, some people, when they leave the garage, actually have to circle all the way around to come back to almost where they started from in the first place. That was the intent of that particular order. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor
Yes,
Ronan.
Mr. President, I just want to point out that Essex Street was two ways at one point in time, and it worked much better than it works right now, to be honest with you. So I think this is a good idea. Now is one-way traffic. We've created an enormous sort of a rotary in this area. I think it's I give you an attaboy. I'd like to see that taken up too. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? Council Pinto.
I know it's going to be a late night. Thank you, Mr. President.
What committee is that going to?
CED. CED.
Community and Economic Development.
All set? Thank you, Mr. President. No, I echo the sentiments, but I remember when it was a two-way. The only thing I'm thinking, of course, we'll discuss.
You don't have the floor. Stop. Council Pinto has the floor. You're out of order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. As I was saying, I remember when Essex Street was a two-way, and it did work. I think when we finally get it in, hopefully get it in and discuss it, the big issue will be when you come out of Essex Street, the left and the right onto Hawthorne Boulevard. But I do remember when Essex Street was a two-way, that street is plenty wide enough for cars to go both ways. Thank you for bringing this in, Council.
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Councilor.
Well, no, I want to know, Mr. President, okay? When we have to bring our motions, orders, and resolutions to the city clerk to have them posted, right? Supposedly we can discuss them once they're posted. If we don't get them in, then there's no discussion on it. Am I correct on this, or give me the ruling, okay?
From what I understand, and the city clerk can correct me, we can still bring the motion as long as we're not going to vote on it that night. If it's going to a committee, we can discuss it. Is that correct, Madam
You
City
just
Clerk?
can't adopt anything that night.
You can't adopt anything.
In other words, you can't make Essex Street a two-way street tonight. It has to go to committee.
We had to use suspension of the rules to get that done, right, in the past. But I thought there was no discussion if it wasn't on the agenda.
I thought so too.
The sunshine rules. All right, well, I'll give my opinion. I think Councilor Sinowski brought in a valid point. I'd like to have parking on one side of the street and make that road two ways, all right? And I hope the set of lights still facing this way works, okay?
We'll make
Cost us some money.
You all set? Councilor McCarthy? Is this your ward?
Thank you, Mr. President. Since everyone is talking about Ward 1, I feel like I should just stand up and say a few words. I look forward to bringing this into committee and have a valid discussion with all the principals and people that'll be around the table in order to discuss this thoughtfully. I value everyone's opinion, but we're not going to make any decisions on Essex Street tonight because the Ward 1 Council would not allow that to happen, so thank you so much.
Move the question.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, moving the committee? Opposed? Councilor Sosnowski?
Thank you, Mr. President. One last one, and this is going to be a view. City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011, ordered that the Committee on Community and Economic Development, and actually I'm thinking I want to change that. I want to have that be the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole meet to discuss the formation of a subcommittee whose goal is to find a site, find a design, and find a way to finance a new City Hall annex, and that only a city-owned parcel be considered where it is to be built. The subcommittee shall consist of representatives from the Mayor's Office, the City Council President, at least 2 additional City Councilors, Planning Department, Building Inspector, Finance Director, City Solicitor, and that the subcommittee's work be completed with 1 year for a shovel-ready project.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This particular thing here, later on our agenda tonight, we're going to be discussing a lease for the annex. And I cannot tell you how many conversations we've had going forward, going back and saying, we shoulda, coulda, woulda, and boy, was it a mistake not to do this, boy, was it a mistake not to do that. And we reflect and we say, boy, it would be nice if we owned something. Here we have a situation where we're going to be voting on a new lease for an annex. And quite honestly, I don't like where we are right now, not at all. And I want to move. However, I'm not sure that moving is the smartest thing at this point. Toward that end, I want to force the situation. I think it's going to be smart in this council to say, we've laid it all out. We have a location, we have a plan, we have a design, and we have a way to finance it. Now what? Let's get it done. And if 3 years from tonight, we can have a brand-new annex that we own for the same price of what we're paying for annual rent right now, that's the way we should go. All right? And I need to be able to, we need to force this issue to happen. Because if we sit back and wait for it to be someday, somewhere, somehow, it isn't going to happen. We'll just be sitting back, and the people that are going to be sitting in this chamber 10 years from now are going to say, why didn't somebody do something a long time ago? All right, well, here we have an opportunity. Here we have an opportunity to be the councils that we're supposed to be. We have an annex that's not satisfactory. It has no parking, has no serious conference rooms that we can meet in. All right, whether or not the price is good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not even going to go down that route. All right, there are other options out there, but none that we own outright. I mean, one option was talked about down by the MBTA station, the part that the city owns. Well, if you've seen the plans for the MBTA station, it's a pedestrian nightmare. All right, so I certainly don't want to be adding public employees to that danger list. I mean, you'd have to get hazard duty paid across the street down there. All right, it's ridiculous. The purpose here, let's find a site, let's adopt a plan, let's get it financed, to find a way to finance it, and then put it in front of the people that can make the decision. Naturally, that would be the corner office. And say, okay, here's an answer. We can save a lot of money in the long run. For less than what we're paying for rent, we can amortize this entire project. We can also, at the same time, probably build a little garage beside it to add additional parking. If we talk, for example, the Church Street lot, for example, we build this building at one end of it and a multi-tiered parking lot at the other end of it, we're in good shape. We're in excellent shape at that point. And we've got something, and we're not waiting for a pie in the sky if the district court will be available, if we can use it, how long it would take to build it out. And that's assuming 15 different things. That's assuming it's even available in 3 years, which I think, as we all have discussed, We know how fast the state works on something. All right, it's ridiculous. So I think we need to force the issue. We need the annex. Nobody here just questions, do we need the annex? Of course we need the annex. Let's get it done. Let's force the issue. Let's do the mechanics behind the scenes. Let's lay the groundwork. And if after we've done all our work, somebody then says no, well, it wasn't because we didn't try. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Sosnowski. Councilor Ronan?
Yes, Mr. President. Just for the people that are watching at home, they should understand that we're going to be paying $340,000 a year to rent 120 Washington Street. $340,000 a year. So I think Councilor Sosnowski has a valid point. We could finance an enormous amount with an annual payment of $340,000. But that may not be the only way, but it's an option. And I wholeheartedly agree that we should be looking at options to get out of 120 Washington Street. Whether it's we build a building ourselves or whether we partner with a developer. We originally got into 120 Washington Street really as an economic incentive to spur a developer to develop that desolate building at 120 Washington Street. Essentially, a developer was able to use the amount of our lease, the $340,000, to get financing to build that building out. So there may be other developers in Salem that would be willing to do that and give us a business condominium, for instance, that we could use as a City Hall annex. You know, every time I walk out of City Hall, I keep looking at the building across the street, which is the last desolate building in downtown Salem. Certainly, if we were to pay, you know, I don't know if a developer will be interested in developing that building or not, but $340,000 would allow somebody to go in there, just like we did in 120 Washington Street, fix that, and perhaps we could have our annex there. I mean, there are many options, and I think that this is worth, you know, this is worth kicking about in committee, because maybe we come up with 2 or 3 options, because the option that we're at right now, 120 Washington Street, is not a viable option. I do not want to be stuck there for another 5 years. That building just doesn't work for our needs. So I think this is a good a good motion. We should put this in committee, find out what our options are, so that, because, you know, we're committed to spending quite a bit of money to finance a City Hall annex, whether it's at 120 Washington Street, whether it's in the parking lot, you know, the Almies parking lot, whether it's in the district court, whether it's somewhere else. But I think that Councilor Sosnowski is absolutely right. Let's figure out what our options are so that we're able to jump in that direction as quickly as we can and to get out of really an inadequate building at 120 Washington Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ronan. Any further discussion? Councilor Fury? Councilor Fury?
Yes, Mr. President, it sounds like deja vu. I tried the same situation, Councilor Sosnowski, and I voted against that lease when it first came up. Councilor O'Leary and Councilor Hayes voted against the annex, which we're in now. And I asked this city council back then to buy out, which was up for sale, the old telephone building, to make it a council on aging and all city offices there. And look what it is now. It's a 5-story building with the DA's office, and Dr. Ryan's office was there, and other offices were there. We could have done that, but we didn't. So I think the time is gone. I think we need to look forward to the district court as the premier site for the location of the annex, such a downtown. What other site is really viable? If you had that chance for the old telephone building, it's gone. History. I tried. I don't think we can reinvent the wheel again and again and again. I think the district court is the prime site, and I think we should wait for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fury. Any further discussion? Councilor Sosnowski's motion to Committee of the Whole to meet to discuss new City Hall annex within a 1-year time period. All those in favor? Opposed? Councilor Fury is opposed. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, the City Council, February 10th, 2011, ordered that the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment meet to discuss amending the snow and ice removal ordinance, specifically by adding a provision which would allow the city to remove and clear snow and ice from public ways utilized by pedestrians in instances where a public safety situation has been identified. To be invited, Director of Public Services, Director of Inspectional Services, Chief of Police or his representative, the mayor or her representative.
Under discussion?
Briefly, Mr. President, I want this to go into public health, safety, environment. I think many of us have gotten calls because of the large amount of snow that we've received this winter. It's caused excessive public safety to the extent that obviously the chief of police the other day had to declare emergency, and now parking has been banned on the even side of residential streets because the streets are so narrow. I've been in regular contact with the building inspector about ticketing different places. Most of them aren't residents, actually. They end up being businesses or places where businesses are connected to residential situations where they haven't been cleared. The building inspector has sent out ticket after ticket and they've been ignored. So the situation remains. The problem is it's still a safety hazard. And I'm thinking of, in my particular ward, Mason Street, where you drive up and down Mason Street, and because areas aren't cleared of snow, people are walking in the middle of Mason Street. And people are almost being hit. And it's really something that I think the city has to address, where perhaps as a proposal that if the city has to go in after someone's ignoring tickets and they've been notified that they have a responsibility to clear the snow, then I think the city should go in on its own through Public Works, clear the snow off, assess what the cost would be, and then send them a bill. And if they don't pay the bill, then put it as a lien. We do that in other instances throughout the city. So I know the building inspector does this when he declares a building a safety hazard, an unsafe structure, and city expends money to tear down the building and then really puts an attachment on that property. So I'd like the committee to meet to really address this and kind of expand our ability in terms of enforcement for snow removal, because I think the tickets work with most residents, but in some cases, I think in particular some businesses, they pay the ticket or they ignore it and they just think it's the cost of doing business. So I think the city should step up and be a little bit more aggressive in trying to make sure that all public ways are safe for all residents, because otherwise we don't, during the winter time, we're no longer a pedestrian city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Pelletier.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Through you to my colleague. I think this should go to Committee on Ordinance, License, and Real Affairs because you're going to change an ordinance. Is that correct? Or rewrite the ordinance? Okay. Now, we should tread lightly on the finding of not so much businesses but homeowners, okay? Because there's certain things that happen out there that I'm aware of, I'm not sure you folks are, that when the city plows, if they're plowing in a corner, they plow it on the sidewalk, on a residential, and these people can't dig it out. It's impossible for them to dig it out. So you gotta tread lightly there, maybe make some type of adjustments for that. As far as business goes, I got business on Jefferson Ave that plow the snow right on the sidewalk, and that's where they got a big pile, all right, to make their parking lot. And there's certain businesses, the hospital included, don't shovel. And they got the equipment, but they don't open up a little section of sidewalk. So the kids going to school, many kids are going to the 3 schools down Jefferson Ave. The third thing I wanted to say on this, I appreciate you bringing this order in, but it needs some work, okay? And there's something else I had in mind. The city is not doing it's their job on their sidewalks, okay? We have a lot of sidewalks that aren't in front of houses that aren't maintained, all right? And I'm not just talking the overpass here by the train station. I'm talking in my ward, over the Castle Hill Bridge, all right? There's no homes there going up and down that hill, all right? And they plow one side, they don't plow the other, but the kids walk in the street coming up the hill in the wrong direction, okay? And there's certain sidewalks on Wilson Street that don't get plowed. And, we got this new, it's called the trackless machine with a snow blower, very narrow. It can be done, all right? And that thing should be out every day after a storm cleaning these sidewalks. And in a case where the city has plowed or a contractor has inadvertently plowed the corner up, because I've heard certain situations of that where they have big piles on a corner because when the plow's got to cut back the corners for the angle coming out, to visual. But if that's a problem, then the city should go down and remove that pile, or just disperse it a little bit with the with the snowblower. And we have this technology, okay? Sending a machine down and lifting it, I got a problem with that because just recently, they cleaned Ocean Ave West and Lawrence Street. They brought it up to a dead end, and no disrespect to the operator, because he didn't know that the homeowner had plowed over his lawn and stopped the snow because he had this Japanese tree behind there, and he knew where the tree was, but the operator from the city don't. It'll be coming in, and the operator just dumped giant ice balls and killed the tree. So, it's tough right now with the sea and these snowbanks. You never know what's going to happen. So, I look forward to that discussion.
Thank you. Council Ronan and then Council Pinto.
Yeah, Mr. President, I think we have to tread lightly in this respect. And I'll tell you why. First of all, legally, I don't think we can really do this, because what you're talking about is a public sidewalk or public street. So you're essentially, a plow comes up, plows onto the sidewalk, you're requiring the homeowner to shovel the city sidewalk. And if he doesn't shovel the city sidewalk, then somebody's going to come, remove that snow, and put a lien against the homeowner's private property. So legally, there is a problem there, and you've got to be somewhat reasonable. I got a lot of calls this last snowstorm regarding plowing, and I think it's not DPW, but I think it's the individual plow operators. They come down and they don't really understand where to throw snow sometimes. So on the end of one dead-end street in my ward, the plow came down and plowed the snow right up against a lady's porch, to such an extent that the mail couldn't be delivered for 3 days. She had to have a neighbor actually got a front-end loader, picked up the snow, and had to dump the snow from her. This is an old woman. She lives at the end of West Terrace. There was no way in God's green earth that that woman could have shoveled her sidewalk in front of her house. I mean, it just was, there's no way. I mean, you could, so here, if you take a look at this statute, where you're requiring somebody to shovel the public, and that's what it says in the statute, shovel the public way, and if they don't shovel the public way, then the city can go in, remove the snow, and put a lien against your house. I think we've got to use a little common sense. Now, this year we got absolutely inundated with snow. So we're hearing a lot of complaints from a lot of our constituents about, people that aren't shoveling. And we have ordinances for that, and we're doing what we can. But I think to really start suggesting that you're going to file liens against people for not taking care of what is really public property, not private property, is probably not what we want to do. So I think we've got to be careful about that.
Thank you, Councilor Ronan. Councilor Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to confirm with Council Lovely. I was just going to recommend that it stay in my committee, only because Kohler is pretty much bogged down, and Councilor O'Keefe and you, I believe, are on my Public Health, Safety, and Environment Committee, so it would be a little less burden. I don't know if we're going to get to the point where we're going to have to put it into Kohler, but I think if you want to do the bulk of the work on my committee, I'm just throwing it out there to the good Ward 6 Council. So.
That's good.
Councilor McCarthy has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. With all due respect to my colleague from Ward 5 from across the aisle, all his fellow barristers up at the State House did pass a law this current year that requires every sidewalk in front of a residence or a business be cleared. They passed the law. We didn't. I commend the Ward 6 councilor for bringing this in. There is lots of incidences, and it was deemed public safety. Safety is paramount above all. For pedestrians, for the people who traverse our streets, be the vehicle or walking. So if there's a way for us to correct that, and if somehow we can figure out a fee schedule as a result of that, so be it. But required by law, set by the state, all sidewalks shall be cleared. Period, in a sense. Whether we own them or it's in front of somebody's house. If it's in front of somebody's house, they are. If it's in front of a business, they are. That's the way it was written. That's the way it was written.
Point of order, Councilor Ronan, but my understanding of insurance, it wasn't the state set the law, it was the Target case that said you could be sued. You're Councilor Ronan.
I'm not gonna go there because there aren't barristers or lawyers, they're legislators, which is different. I'm a barrister, they're a legislator. But this is also an obligation that Salem doesn't enforce with an even hand. And I'm gonna point out a situation in my ward that really bothers me, and that's at Pioneer Terrace, which is the housing project. The city owns the sidewalks on Salem Street and Lafayette Place, and we don't plow those sidewalks, nor does the housing authority take care of the sidewalks. So for my elderly friends at Pioneer Terrace, they can't walk on the sidewalk on Salem Street or Pioneer Terrace. It won't be clear until the snow melts. But yet we're giving out fines for a lot smaller slivers of sidewalk that have a lot less traffic than the Salem Housing Authority. Now, I don't know why the Salem Housing Authority is exempt from this rule. You know, I don't know why the city of Salem doesn't step in and take care of its sidewalk there, since the Salem Housing Authority isn't. But that's the problem. I yell and jump up and down until I get red in the face. But that's an obligation that's, you know, that's not enforced. The Salem Housing Authority just flaunts that. They don't plow the sidewalk, and the city of Salem, you know, we got the little tractor to take care of that. They don't do it either. In fact, the city owns the parking lot across the street, and they do a very poor job plowing that parking lot. So I got my good friend, Councilor Pelletier, in his truck to go out there and to plow that parking lot the last snowstorm. And he did a terrific job, by the way. So I give him an attaboy, too, since I'm in the attaboy giving mood.
Thank you. Councilor Sosnowski?
Yeah, thank you. Just very briefly, last meeting I asked where the order that I had brought in was, and I didn't write that down.
Some government services, I believe.
That's in government services, because it was addressing the same thing, and that was 28 days ago. Should I withdraw that, or?
What are you talking about?
Okay, never mind. I just wanted to make sure I knew where it was. Thank you.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, Mr. President, members of the council. The state plows a certain part of my ward. They plow from Venice Square to almost a diner on Loring Avenue, across from Salem State Bertillon School. And they do such a great job that they put all the snow that's in the street on everybody's sidewalk all along Loring Avenue. And the other day, one of the storms, I had to go get a prescription at CVS in the snowstorm, and there were 6 plows following each other down the middle of Loring Avenue, pushing all the snow in someone's front yard. It was so close to the... I've talked to the state Mass Highway, and it does blue in the face. They don't do anything. And they're out there. Imagine 6 plows following each other. And they turn around and come back every half hour. They go to diner, turn around and go back to Venice Square. Turn around. That's all they plow, evidently. And sand. They do an excellent job in sand. You want to go in, it's bare pavement some days. But Mayor Curley, years ago, I remember reading something. He says, people were raising Cain with him about not plowing Boston streets. And I recall Mayor James Michael Curley said, the good Lord puts the snow there, and the good Lord will take it away. I wish Councilor Pelletier will come into Ward 2. I got some Ward 7. He can plow over there, too.
Councilor McCarthy?
Look, we're going to move the question, but I just want to, for the record, we're been all inundated with snow. We all have stories with snow. There's side streets all over the place that have snow. I just want to go on record as saying that Dick Renard and his guys down at DPS have been dealt a serious bad hand on this one with regard to snow. And they, with 130 miles of roadway in the city of Salem, after a storm, I drive to Beverly, others. Right after a storm, Salem seems to be was a lot better than most. I understand that the streets are narrow. I understand we have issues. I would reach out to any counselor. I have worked with Dick Renard during storms, after storms, and in the summer, identifying areas in my ward that are city-owned, be it in front of a cemetery as it goes down Derby Street, or wherever they are, to make sure that they're on the list. So when they go out and they send the plows, because they concentrate, the sidewalk plows for city stuff, they concentrate first around the schools. to make sure that the kids can get to and from the schools. And when they're going to and from there, they pick up those areas because I've had them put them on a list. I understand it's a process, but I just want to put a shout out to Dick Renard and his guys. They do a fabulous job. They continue to do a fabulous job with a very difficult situation. Hopefully it gets warmer and starts melting.
Thank you.
I agree.
Council Sosnowski.
Very briefly, I'll make it very quick. I mean, I couldn't agree anymore with what Councilor McCarthy has just said. Dick has done a fabulous job. There's one thing, though. I remember a few years back, Councilor Pelletier brought in a request, I believe it was, that have all trucks that are plowing for the city have a magnetic sign on their door. Was that you, Councilor? All right, someone mentioned that because the reason why I say it is because when this committee meets to discuss whatever they discuss, I see a whole bunch of trucks going around the city with their blades up. Right? And I'd like to know which ones are private contractors, and I'd like to know which ones are working for the city. So toward that end, I'd like to find some way to get, magnetic signs so that Dick can assign it and put a sign on a magnetic sign on the door of the truck, S22, whatever. All right, and we know that that's a truck that's been contracted to the city. All right, and then if we have a complaint about whatever truck that is, all right, we can call up and say, hey, Dick, S22 is sleeping behind Bill and Bob's or something, right? Whatever the situation is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Sosnowski. I'm going to move the question on Councilor Prevy's order to meet about the snow removal going to public health and safety. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Going once, twice, gone. Committee reports. Council Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee on Ordinances, City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered said matter would recommend approval. Pawnbroker, Seaworm, Secondhand Valuable Tag Days.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Under discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
No discussion. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, February 10, 2011. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered said matter would recommend that the following license requests remain in committee public guide.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Under discussion?
We're taking up the public guide ordinance, so it's just consistent with what we're doing. We'll vote them out shortly.
Okay. On adoption of the recommendation,
Too much snow.
all those in favor? Opposed? Further committee reports?
Last one, Mr. President, but it's the long one. City of Salem, in City Council, February 10, 2011. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of Order Number 660, 5-year lease agreement with 120 Washington Street, has considered said matter, would recommend approval with the following amendment, that the lease comes back after 5 years for council approval of the 1-year extensions.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think everyone here is familiar with the lease, so I'm not going to go over the, well, just quickly for our audience at home. It's a lease with, at the current location, 120 Washington Street. According to the mayor's memo to us, there'll be a savings of approximately $42,375.20 per year. It's a 5-year lease. Although at the request of the City Council, we asked for an opt-out after 3 years if the district court building becomes available at 65 Washington Street at that time, that we can opt out of that lease in anticipation of moving over there. The administration has requested through DCAM that Division of Capital Asset Management in Boston, that DCAM has told us it really is about a 5-year plan before they think that that building will be empty. 65 Washington Street, the district court building, after probate court moves in and out of it. And of course it has to go through a disposition process where, it's available to other state agencies before it becomes available to a municipality like Salem. So but the administration did see that through the request, I think, of committee members that, well, what if we're ready to go? What if the district court building is actually ready to go? We want to have that option based on that. So the mayor worked with there were 2 bids that came in. RCG was the lower bid. The mayor was able to negotiate with that bid for the Peabody block. And again, the annual savings will be about $42,000, a little more. We will no longer be paying the taxes on behalf of the landlord. The landlord will be paying for that themselves. There'll also be some upgrades to the to the fixtures, new carpeting, some paint, and as of such. So I'm actually supportive of this lease. I was actually supportive of when we went into that building when it had trees growing out of the middle of it and it was all dilapidated, and now it was a public-private partnership at the time. I'm in favor of going into the building. I like the 3-year out option. I like the fact that the rent has been reduced. I think that's always been a kind of a complaint over the years, that we were paying too much rent. It's reduced. If we, just a quick caveat, because I know there's a number of councilors who may not be in favor of this, and it does need 8 votes. It is a lease of property, so it will need 8 votes. But just very quickly, if we stay at the current location, we will pay $382,000. That's what we're currently paying. But then and we will go into 1-year increments of renewal, depending on what happens with that. But there's an automatic 3% or whatever the CPI is for the adjustment. So the rent this year will be $393,000 there. And if we have to stay another year, it'll be $405,000. And if we have to stay another year, it'll be $417,000. Whereas right now we're going to pay $340,000 for the 5 years. So I'm supportive of that. I think that, we're trying to look to pinch every penny we can. And in the interim, we can, wait for the district court building to become available, or Councilor Sosnowski has introduced a good order to start taking a look at other options. So that's what the synopsis of where we're at, and I'm sure other councilors would like to speak. Thank you.
Further discussion. I actually promised it's Councilor O'Keefe, Councilor Sosnowski, and Councilor Pelletier.
Mr. President, members of the council, when this was in the committee, I took some strong position about 120 Washington Street, about my concerns with fire safety. And since then, I've met a meeting. In fact, I had a meeting with Chief Cody Dade. And earlier this week, he had Fire Marshal Erin Griffin and her staff review all of the fire protection facilities, the sprinklers, the alarms, the grease ducts, and what have you, for compliance with all applicable state laws and city fire code. And he's satisfied that my concerns have been properly addressed. So I would respectfully apologize to the committee for raising these concerns when the chief fire protection officer of the city, David Cody, is not concerned. Then I'm satisfied that he's got it under control. So I'm going to support this recommendation of the committee tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've discussed this long, and we've had many discussions. Some heated, some not. All right, and for the most part, nobody disagrees that we would like to be out of 120 and then some other place. But given the fact that we want to own what we go to and not rent it again, I'm okay with a continuation of the lease until I read section number 8 of the new lease. Now, bear with me for a moment here, and I'll read it verbatim. And this is 8A, option for early termination. In the event tenant is able to secure office space for its municipal offices located within the leased premises of the landlord, and such offices are located at 65 Washington Street, Salem, Mass., then the tenant may terminate this lease agreement, and then it goes on. What this says is, if we get that one spot and only that one spot, we can terminate the lease. This isn't right. What happens if we have the old First National, Red Lion Smoke Shop, excuse me, or someplace down here at Clop Alley, Church Street, the MBTA station, which I don't like at all, but what if that were a reality? This says we can't get out of this lease if anything else was an option. That particular statement has to go. If that statement doesn't go, then I'm not going to vote for this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Council Pelletier, then Council Ronan, then Council Pinto.
I'll defer to Council Ronan, because I'd like an opinion on, your opinion on
Council Ronan.
May I have the floor? Mr. President, when we first addressed this issue, several of us had concerns about getting into a 5-year lease at 120 Washington Street, the building generally being inadequate. So this lease has come back to us with an escape clause. But the escape clause is a very weak escape clause. It puts all of our eggs in one basket. The only way we can get out of this lease, and it's only after 3 years, is if we give 12 months advance notice that we're going into 65 Washington Street, which is the district court. So my brother from Ward 2 is absolutely correct. No matter what else comes up, if we have the best option in the world available to us somewhere else, we can't get out of this lease. The only escape is if we get the district court building. Now, I'm gonna say that I'm opposed to this, and I'll tell you why. What the public at home probably doesn't understand is we had a 5-year lease with 5 one-year options. Now, what that does is that gives us, if we take the 1-year option route, that is, we go this year under a 1-year option, it gives us the opportunity to negotiate each and every year with the RCG group. So yes, the 1-year option is listed at a set price in the lease, but that doesn't mean that we can't negotiate it, because we don't have to exercise that option. We can get out. We have an out after year 1, after year 2, after year 3, after year 4. We have much more flexibility if we don't accept this 5-year lease. If we accept this 5-year lease, we are locked into 120 Washington Street, where there's no parking, where our meeting rooms are inadequate, where we're on 3 floors, etc. If we go the route, we vote this down, and we exercise just the 1-year option, then next year we'll renegotiate with the RCG group. And you know what? I'll bet they negotiate with us, because there's no way on God's green earth that the RCG group in an open market is going to find tenants that are going to pay them more than the city of Salem is paying them. That is, they couldn't rent their space in the aggregate for more than $340,000. So we will be in a position to negotiate after year 1, after year 2, after year 3, and after year 4. And I'm hoping that when we discuss the various options that we may have in terms of finding our own annex, and I'm not saying that we have to put all of our options into the district court. I like that option, by the way. I do. I like it a lot. But there may be other good options that we find, when we kick around, in committee, Councilor Sosnowski's idea that we really go out and we vet this, and we do it immediately. We come back in a year and find, another option for a city hall annex. We'll have much better choices and much more flexibility if we're not locked in for 5 years to 120 Washington Street. It's a bad lease. And yes, we'll save money in the first year, but after that we can make it up when we renegotiate whether or not we accept the option for year 2, or whether we accept the option for year 3, or whether we accept the option for 4 or 5. So I'm going to vote against this lease, and I'll ask all of my colleagues to join me. Vote against this lease. Give us some options.
Council Pinto, Council Pinto goes, Council Pelletier, you deferred. I'll go back to you afterwards. So Council Pinto?
Thank you, Mr. President.
You deferred to Council Ronan, so now I'm going here. I'll go back to you afterwards.
Sir. Doesn't mean I lose my place tonight.
No, I put you in the back of the line.
I'm kind of hungry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That's why I put you at the end.
A lot of the, when I first went to the committee meeting, not being a member of the committee of COLA, I went because it was co-posted. And I had read the lease, and the first thing that I was disappointed was that we didn't get this lease till December 9th at our one and only meeting in December. And the RFPs had come in on August 18th. So in the span of 3.5 months, the review committee that the administration put together renegotiated, and I guess we're gonna get new carpets and wanna get some paint. And yes, we are gonna pay less money. But this was a 10-year lease. And for us to have this in front of us, our first meeting on it was January 20th. Now, this lease expires in 18 days. So I don't think we've really had the time, or we've put the time and effort into talk. This is really our third meeting on this. This is the third time we've talked about this lease, about a lease that we want to actually tie into for 5 years. Now, I'm against the lease because what I did is when I saw the proposal, I went over and looked at 10 Federal Street. And what I saw was a one-floor building, and it wasn't the low bid, I know that, but I saw a one-floor building with ample parking, a parking lot in front of it, a number of spaces that much more than what RCG is offering us. I think we get 7 spaces over here, and Councilor O'Keefe had alluded to, at the beginning of that lease, they were supposed to put additional parking underground, and that has never transpired, or at least I think the councilor asked that question, and I don't think they've ever done it. So, and what Councilor Ronan says does make sense. Now, I know, I think the way this is written is that basically if we vote for this, we're tied in for 5 years. I mean, actually, we can opt out after 2 years, but we got to give a 12-month notice. So at the end of 2 years, we got to say, we're going to be out here in 3 years. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? We're going to have no place to go. And if we do get a shovel in the ground and we do get something going, that still doesn't give us enough time. That still doesn't give us an option. So I am going to vote against this lease. And like I said, I just wish we had more time to absorb it. I wish it came back to us before. We only have 1 meeting in December, and then we have our reorganization at the beginning of the year. So like I said, we really didn't have enough time. This is our 3rd meeting. That's the thing that really kind of drives me the most, that it was just the way it was presented to us. I think we should have got this a lot earlier. It's a very important lease. It's something we're going to tie into. It's costing a lot of money. So I will be voting against it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Pelletier, then Councilor McCarthy.
I can't disagree with Council Pinto anymore. Even my colleague across the aisle. We got escape clause, all right? A year time is no time at all if you're gonna reconvert a building or convert an old building or build something or move, all right? Now, moving over to 10 Federal Street makes no sense anyway, okay? It never made any sense because we'd be renting again. And I remember when the city moved from behind here.
One Salem Green.
One Salem Green. The engineering map room never got put back together. So neither can the city or the contractors find any maps from work done over the past 30 years, okay? Now, that's only one problem, moving departments like this and moving computers. We don't want to move. And in regards to this lease, there are outs, okay? And I appreciate what Councilor Sinowski brought in, but in 1 year's time, we might have a proposal, we might have something in the works, but we won't be in there in a year. So, and if we don't sign this, then we lose, Councilor Lovely, 40 grand, I think she was saying, because the new lease is like 40 grand less. Well, if we don't sign this, if we don't approve this, then it goes back to the old, the original cost of the lease, the old lease, you know. So we're going to lose money there, and they probably won't do any work on the building. Not that that's much in our favor anyway. I mean, I don't know what they could do to spruce it up, but I'm in favor of this. Let's just get this by. When I asked the city attorney about that specific clause, about the 1 year lease, she was good with it, and what she said to me, we can get out of it after 1 year.
Only if we go to district court.
What's that?
Oh, the escape clause is only for the district court. If we found a building, Mr. President, may I be?
Councilor Ronan.
Yep. If we found a building for sale, you know, not that I know which building that would be right now, but if we found a building for sale and we wanted to purchase it and we wanted to move, we can't get out of this lease We can't.
Then I'll make a suggestion, Mr. President. We can make an amendment on the floor to scratch that, scratch 45. I'll put that out there now, to scratch 45 Washington.
65.
What's that?
65.
Whatever you want scratch, Council. I'll put an amendment, we scratch it out of there, send it to the mayor, they can send it to RCG, and if they don't like it, this way, I appreciate you bringing that in, you know? Let's just cut it from the lease, because we don't like it, and because we all agree it's not giving us an easy out if we find another place. Let's go for it.
I would
My
second-
amendment
I would
would be
second-
to change, to delete that sentence.
Second Council Pelletier's motion.
And add any other facility.
Now,
I don't have the wording in front of me, Mr. President.
We need it in writing.
I'll look to my colleague from Ward 2.
Do we need to, on the amendment, do we need to vote on the amendment, or do we just keep discussing?
Space for its
Keep
municipal
discussing,
offices
okay.
within the lease premises of the landlord.
But-
And that's
All right,
questionable in
so
itself.
Council McCarthy was to speak. Are you done, Council
And
Pelletier?
such offices are located, well, that whole thing is
Council
here.
Pelletier, okay. Council McCarthy? And then Council Lovely?
Thank you, Mr. President. 10 years ago, the city entered into an agreement for this property under a different administration, a different set of councils in this room, entered into, it is an economic development tool.
No, I was there.
I know you were, and so was Council Lovely, and I appreciate that. And at the time, it made sense, and I agree with that. But what doesn't make sense right now is the idea of we're going someplace. Because the only choice in front of us is to approve this 5-year lease with a 3-year escape clause specifically for the district court, or not to. It's simple. Whether you want to, sorry, Council, whether you want to, keep whacking him in the head, I talk to my hand. Whether you believe that or not. We had I disagree with Councilor Pinto on this fact that we had a series of meetings. And in the first meeting it came up from the Ward 5 Council, he said specifically, the agreement was in this body, that we wanted to move, if available, to the district court. So that language was put into the agreement. Actually, I was the one who requested it. Because I believe at that time, Council Ronan had left. He had the prior commitment and left during the meeting. I believe I requested it of the city solicitor who sat right over there, because I figured they were going to come back with some sort of number. It didn't come back with an escape clause number with a buyout. It came back specifically for that location, because that's what came out of committee. That was our recommendation to the city solicitor negotiated that language with their attorney. So I don't think that this body is in the position to start changing a lease agreement, because what's going to happen is that has been negotiated because it came through committee with that language. Okay? Now we're fast forwarding 10 years. 10 years now, 10 years, different administration, different set of councilors. The lease is coming up due. Everybody in this room said, we want to be in district court. We want to be someplace else that we own. That was what came out of this room. So now the language is in there, but now we're gonna sacrifice potentially $45,000, of which time a whole bunch of people in this room have said we're going to be in a tough budget cycle. We don't have any money available, and we're going to sacrifice potentially $45,000. That's a step 1 firefighter. That's a step 1 police officer. That's 3 para. You do the math however you want. Yes, do I think 120 is not the best fit in the world? No. But I went over there, I talked to the department heads. They can make it work. They've been there for 10 years, they make it work. It does, I understand the premise of trying to find a new place to go. I want a new place to go. We can do a study for a year to figure out where we're going. But the fact of the matter is, by the time we try to bond for it, fund it, buy it, or whatever, we're still years away. In the time that we're gonna sit back and wait, because everyone was in agreement, 2 weeks ago, that we want to be in district court, a year to complete and move, 2 years after the move to build out district court, and then DCAM puts it out. Goes to the states first, then to us. So potentially we're 3 or 4 years out anyway. And with this body said we want to be in there. Councilor Pelletier wanted to put a resolution that he wants the building, wants to put a petition on, have people sign it. That's great, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, in 3 years' time, if it's not available, then we're going to start trying to negotiate and figure out, then we're going to be we're gonna be at the 5-year mark if district court doesn't come available. So potentially in that 5-year span, $45,000 the first year, escalates up with a 3% escalator, and I don't like to disagree with the Ward 5 councilor, but he is on God's green earth. The landlord over there knows that he has this now over a barrel. Do you think he's gonna come back and negotiate where we don't have a place to move? So now we're gonna have to figure out where we wanna move?
Trailers. Be living out of trailers.
So I, as much as I respect the Ward 5 council on this one, I don't agree with him. Because if we don't enter into it, we're gonna, short term, we cost us money. Long term, we're still looking, and I agree with what Councilor Sosnowski brought in, but even still, we're all gonna sit back and wait to see if district court comes available, so it doesn't make sense. I've talked to the department heads over there. It's not the most ideal situation in the world, but they make it work. $70,000 was the number that I saw come out of committee that the building inspector put together some numbers with regards to the move, no matter where it is. If it ends up being farther away than potentially what was available, there could be even more because of the data lines. So I would urge my colleagues really sit back and think about this, because short term, you're costing us $45,000 this year, potentially 3% more, and I don't believe that you're banking with the taxpayers' money, thinking that the developer's gonna come back and renegotiate with us when they've got us into either re-up for the next year or go someplace else. Thank you, Mr. President.
Council Lovely,
All set.
you're all set. Can I let Councilor Freebie go, because he hasn't spoken yet, so.
Thank you, Mr. President. I won't be supporting this lease because we've been in it for 10 years, and I remember when I first got on the council, which is now 5 years ago, back then I heard people talk, we got to get out of 120 Washington Street. You know, we've outused the usefulness of the building. It's not user-friendly towards our constituents, to people who need to go to these meetings. We've outgrown it. And so everyone kept talking at that time. I remember when I first got on the council, and I barely even knew what the issues were. I'd gone over to 120 Washington Street a few times, and people kept saying then, when this lease is up, we're out of here. We've outlived this building. It served its purpose at the time. We all heard the stories as to why we went there to begin with. Now we're at that point, and we're looking to extend it an additional 5 years. We're kicking the can down the road. We haven't made any provisions. We haven't had any real discussions with the administration or as a body as to what to do. It's also, the lease pops up sometime over the summer. The administration works on it, the RFP goes out, and as Councilor Pinto said, bam, it's on our front doorstep here. You have to hurry up and vote on it. So I don't think that was very good planning, especially when we knew this clock was ticking and that we were going to be faced with this issue. Extending the lease for an additional 5 years just makes us more ensconced there. You know, it's kind of like, you know, a pack rat who just sits there in the same room and just, you know, just piles everything up all over the place. Try to get that guy out of the room, forget it. You know, the longer he stays there, the more he's going to want to stay there, even though he looks around and says, you know, this is a dump, but at least I'm kind of comfortable there. We shouldn't do that. I think by rejecting the lease and operating under 1-year renewals, I would hope is going to force us all collectively to work hard, as Councilor Sosnowski said through his order, for us to sit there and actually start to come up with a plan and not just say, we're all set for 5 years. Because you know what? In 5 years, we're going to be right back here doing the same thing again. Maybe not all of us that will still be on the council, but we'll still be struggling with this issue. So I think we're going to force our hands collectively, and the only way to do that, I think, is by rejecting this. We all made the arguments in committee as well about how inadequate the building is. And maybe it's okay for the people that work over there, they're comfortable, and that's fine, but what about the people that we serve? It's not user-friendly. People who have to pull permits and go down there for business. Parking is atrocious. We got constituents that refuse to go to meetings even though they want to because of the parking situation and because they know when they get up to a controversial issue in front of the planning board or the Board of Health or the Board of Appeals, people are hanging out in the hallway. Can't hear anything, can't talk, can't do anything. That's what we're doing for our people? How are we allowing them even a public forum to speak when it's that? When the methadone clinic came up, because of the controversial nature and the number of people that showed up on that, the Board of Health said, we're going to find a different location. So it wound up going to the Bowditch. originally was scheduled. Well, the meeting ended up being canceled, as we all know, because one of the board members got sick and they didn't have a quorum. And so the next time, well, the Bowditch wasn't available. So where were we? Right back at 120 Washington Street, where people are hanging on windowsills and people are out in the hallway, unable to speak. So for those reasons, I will not be supporting this. Thank you.
Councilor Sosnowski?
Thank you, Mr. President. For the record, as far as all of us wanting district court is concerned, I will always keep my options open, but I've never, ever wanted district court. I'm not going to turn a blind eye on that. My feeling is on district court specifically. It's going to be at least 5 years before it becomes available, because we know how fast the state moves. Then, let's assume it is available, and we're the people because every other state agency said no. Take a look at it. You walk in the front door, there's a foyer there which got more room in it than almost this entire city hall. Wasted. So we're not going to just move in there. We're talking about major reconstruction to make it work in the first place, because it's just not suitable as is. It has to be built up. There's another year, maybe 2. Again, knowing how fast government wheels turn. I also, during the time that we asked for the city to be considered as one of the people that wanted that place, the first rendition of the courthouse campus under a different judge who was there at the time, the probate building was going to be available, as well as the building right beside it, the corner. Well, the first 2 buildings on Federal Street were going to be available. I wanted us to throw our hat in the ring. I wanted us to have first choice in that as well, because those would have been good. But then as time has gone on, and then the second edition of Who Can Design a Court Campus came up, and now all of a sudden we're over here and we're out of the picture entirely, which is fine because the court system should have first preference there. As far as this is concerned here, this lease, if this first 3 sentences in 8A remain, I will not be voting for this. If those 2.5 sentences come out, then I will vote for this. All right, only because we need a place to get into. However, let's talk about options for a moment, to say that we're being held over a barrel, or under a barrel in this case. I truly believe that there are options here that are currently rent, but I think they could be easily converted to condos, and we would own. Specifically, 10 Federal Street. I don't think that Mr. Flaunt is opposed to us discussing condoing it. We own it. We own it. Okay, what's wrong with that? He's offered public-private partnerships in the past about a lot of different things, and the man is a businessman. He's a good businessman, right? And all my hat's off to him. We could go there, so we have options. I want to be able to get out of this. I do not want just this one option as the only way we can get out of this. If I would put forward a motion toward that end, that in paragraph, or I don't know if it's paragraph or section, but section 8A in paragraph 8A, the option for early termination, the first sentence that begins with the words "in the event," all the way, that entire balance of that first sentence, the entire second sentence ending in the word "court" with parentheses, and then the word "then" in the third sentence be changed to the word "the," and that it would now read 8A, option for early termination. The tenant may terminate this lease agreement prior to the expiration date, February 28, 2016, so long as the tenant provides the landlord with 12 months prior written notice of its intent to terminate the lease early. But in no event shall the lease terminate subject to this section prior to February 28, 2014. It takes out the fact that we're channeled down one narrow road.
Council Sosnowski, I think Council Pelletier pretty much did that same thing and seconded.
Did you make a motion toward that end?
I rescind my amendment
No,
because it was Councilor Sosnowski's idea, but I'm a little hesitant on changing a document made by lawyers.
God bless you.
Made by who?
drafted by lawyers, okay? Those were drafted, that document was drafted by lawyers.
Well, my option is simple tonight, Mr. President. If that amendment it goes forward, I'll vote for this. If that amendment doesn't go forward, it will not get my support.
Move the question on the amendment.
Well, any further, I actually want to get down. Councilor O'Keefe, can you take the president? If I could speak?
Yep.
Councilor Ward, every line.
Mr. President, met with the mayor on this, I've only met a couple times, talking about this lease. I mean, her ultimate goal, as well as most everyone in here, is to get it the city's own building. I mean, we're not looking to keep leasing like we did going from over here to One Salem Green to over to City Hall Annex over there. She agrees, like in the 5-year time period, she wants to go to a place that the city owns. But I don't like how we knew for a long time, 10 years, that this lease was coming up. Why was the RFP sent out so late? Why wasn't it done at the beginning of the year? They could have, nobody on the council was involved in this committee, which I think is wrong. As far as Councilor Sosnowski's motion that he brought in about putting the committee together and the 1-year time frame, I mean, that's all good and everything, but what teeth does it have? She doesn't have to listen to that. I mean, it's really got no bite to it. If we don't vote for this, if we vote this lease down tonight, that pretty much, that gives the teeth, the 1-year teeth for his committee. I'm not voting for this because I think that we can get a better deal. I think we can get more money, and I think that it was not fair the way the RFP, I'm sick of stuff getting dumped on us in the last minute. And it's been done a lot even before when I was on the council, and I don't think it's right. I think we can get a better deal, and we have plenty of time, because even if we were gonna build a building today, it's gonna take us 3 or 4 years. We have plenty of time, so the 1 year is not gonna hurt us. We will probably get a better deal. If not with them, we'll put another RFP out, but this will give teeth to his motion that he brought up tonight, because without it, I think it's like, it's all no good.
Smoke and
So I
mirrors.
mean, as far as the amendments, I'm not voting for this, so.
Move the question.
Let's get on that. Yeah, move the
Move the
question.
question, Mr.
All right, we'll move the question.
Mr. President.
Should we do roll call vote? Or?
If to deal with the
Question
amendment
to
first.
amend
It's a
it?
question to
There's
amend
amendment.
to adopt.
All right, first, we need to do the amendment of adopting it and removing the address, Washington, the courthouse, from the lease.
That was rescinded.
Was that the amendment?
That motion was rescinded. I'd make a motion that we vote on the
On the lease.
whole matter, on the
Okay, so there's
lease.
a motion to vote on the lease,
Second.
seconded by Council Pinto.
As is, Mr.
As
President?
is.
As is.
Yep.
Vote as is. A roll call vote, or is it just?
Roll call.
Roll call vote.
It has to be.
Okay, roll
Need a
call
vote.
vote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Madam
1, 2, 3.
Madam City Clerk, can you please read the roll?
Counselor Sosnowski?
No.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
No.
Counselor Prevey?
No.
Counselor Pinto?
No.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
No. Okay.
Fails.
11 councilors voting, 6 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. It needs a supermajority, so it fails.
It is a majority.
What?
It's a
These are
two-thirds
two-thirds
majority.
vote.
Needs 2/3, Mr.
Yeah.
President.
Yeah, I said it needs
That's
a
what I said,
supermajority, I said,
Oh.
which is 8 votes. Yep. All right.
Move for immediate reconsideration, no, does not prevail, Mr. President.
Councilor Pinto moves for immediate consideration, hopes it does not prevail. All those in favor?
Favor reconsideration.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Further committee reports? Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, February 10, 2011, the Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of the amount of $9,000 from receipts reserved golf course to golf course irrigation, has considered said matter and recommend approval.
On acceptance of the report, All those in favor? Opposed? Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening before, we're almost getting to, it's almost yesterday, we had a meeting, the Committee on Administration and Finance. We had Doug Boland from the Park and Rec Department and Dick Drew from the golf course. Basically, the appropriation is for a pump. The pump was put in, the pump that they're going to replace is antiquated, it's out of date, it's malfunctioning. It was put in 1970. The pumps have a life expectancy of anywhere from 15 to 20 years. Obviously, this pump has outlived its usefulness and needs to be replaced. So the committee voted to approve the transaction, and I would recommend that my colleagues do as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. Any further discussion? Being none. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? Further committee reports? Councilor McCarthy, can you please sit in your seat, please? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, February 10, 2011, to the Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of the resolution authorizing the certified project application of GT Crystal Systems LLC, has considered said matter and recommend approval.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Under discussion?
On discussion, thank you, Mr. President. We had David Byer in here, the lawyer for Crystal Systems. Basically, their company down at Shetland Property is going to invest approximately $28 million to grow the company. They grow crystals that are used in, the military uses them for defense purposes. All the LED lights now have these types of crystals in them. What they're looking for is for this resolution to be adopted is for a manufacturing retention program from the state. Basically, by us adopting this resolution, it allows them to apply for state workforce tax credits. It doesn't cost the city anything. GT Crystal Systems doesn't own the property at Shetland, so they were not looking for any sort of tax incentive back from the city. Basically, by passing this resolution, we allow them, they're going to invest the $28 million. They're looking to get some tax credits back from the state. They're going to create an additional they have to maintain 50 jobs within creation of an additional 25. They're going to be improving the 30,000 square feet of the building which they occupy. I have the resolution in front of me, unless does anyone want me to read this?
Waive the reading.
Waive the reading. Thank you. I would urge we had the gentleman in, he spoke very candidly about it. I would urge my colleagues to support the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. Any further discussion? All right, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? Further committee reports, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, February 10, 2011. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of accepting the proposal of early retirement incentive program, has considered the matter and recommend approval.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Under discussion?
On discussion, thank you, Mr. President. When we had the committee meeting the other night, everybody was left a copy of this, if you haven't had a chance to look at it. Basically, we had Rich Viscay, the finance director, and Lisa Camarada from the Human Resources Department, and Captain Gilligan from the Police Department. For those of you that do not remember, this early retirement incentive program, PARAC, was brought in the end of last year, and they were trying to crank out the numbers to see if it makes sense for us to do it. Basically, it allows, through the program, you're allowed to identify which departments you would think would be eligible for this. In doing so, they identified the police department, the fire department, and data processing. That being said, anybody with 20 years plus service is allowed to apply for this, and it puts 3 years towards their retirement. So therefore, with those specific positions, you can't backfill a position for 3 years. So, and you have to show the savings over that period. The police department was in because they obviously, for internal matters, which I'm not going to get into the specific personnel, they have a couple of offices over there that have heard the idea of this, because it's kind of, you have to accept it before you can put it out and let them apply, but you have to kind of know who's there. So you kind of have to float out the idea and see who's leaning to come in. There may be more, there could be different people. At this point, we're not 100% sure. They have a guess as to who might be coming forward. That being said, the numbers that we looked at, we have short-term will save money. Long-term, there's a question when you amortize out the retirement and everything. But that being said, is they're going to retire anyway, so it's like what we're doing is we're allowing them to retire early. We will save the money because in the case of the police department came in because they're concerned about they have issue. They like to see this move forward. Is they're looking at it as a potential if they allow a couple early retirements of restructuring down at the police department, moving some people out that want to retire, that won't retire because they want to wait till they get the extra years in to retire to make it beneficial to them. The committee weighed in all the different options that were presented in front of them, and their recommendation was to the full council to approve. The spreadsheets are on here. It's all in color if anyone really wants to sit back and take a look at it. But at that, to be in the late hour, I could go into more detail to it, but at that, I would just, if there's any questions, I'll obviously answer them, but I would urge my colleagues to approve.
Mr. President.
Further discussion, Councilor Kozlowski, then Councilor O'Keefe.
No. Thank you, Mr. President. The only question I have is, there's a law in here that says it can't be backfilled if you do the early retirement? Here, Mr. President?
Yes. That question was brought up, and what it basically says, the way the PARAC rule law is written, it says they can't backfill. The finance director asked PARAC with regard to specifically the police department and the fire department because both of them are undermanned traditional of what the numbers that they had in the past. So that if they were allowed for these early retirements in either department, if anyone should come forward and opt into this program, that since they are under statute as to what is in our ordinances, what their level should be, they wouldn't consider that backfilling because technically right now they're under their allotment. So therefore, if these two police officers were to retire, there would nothing in this would preclude the police department, assuming as Councilor of Ward 5 brought up that the financing was available to put these positions back in, that they'd be available. They wouldn't preclude them from doing it.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was going to be part of the discussion I would ask because before, when we were not in the financial crunch that we're in at the moment, we heard from the unions screaming at the top of their lungs on the police union, we need 95 people by contract, but we only have 80. What gives? We heard similar arguments with the fire department. We only have so many people and contractually we're supposed to have X number, whatever that is. And I seem to recall the numbers someplace around 15 short. Now we're going to take 3 veterans from the fire department, 3 veterans from the police department and retire them. At this meeting, my comment there was, I mean, I understand it's good to start restructuring and start to lay the foundation as to how the new hires are going to work. But this is all being done to supposedly save money. One of the examples they gave was a particular police officer, $70,000. He retires. When he retires, he gets $45,000. He's going to get replaced with the person that's going to start at 40 instead of 70. Okay, younger legs can be out there doing the beat, the whole bit. Although we could argue the point,
experience,
the sage wisdom versus the new guy on the block, so to say, without getting down to that particular point. All right. So what we're doing is we're taking a $70,000 a year position, retiring him, paying $45,000 a year. We're hiring another person for at least $40,000 a year. So now we're spending $85,000. We just added $15,000 to our budget. All right. I don't see the savings. I'm bothered by that because, yeah, I understand that some people may want to retire, but it's going to cost us more. All right? No matter how you cut it, it's going to cost us more. All right? Are they going to retire in 3 years? Hopefully. I mean, probably. There's no question in my mind that some of these people that would probably opt out at this early incentive thing would retire in 3 years anyway. Is it good to have younger legs out there? Absolutely. I don't question that. It's just that if we're doing this to save money, let's not pretend. All right, we're not saving money here. That's not where we're going here. So I mean, I'm just a little concerned by the numbers, because when you crunch the numbers down, it doesn't make sense. Thank you.
One second, I just want to mention that when I spoke with the mayor, when we approve this plan, she doesn't have to approve any of the retirement. So even if these people come along and say they want to try it, she can still say no. She doesn't have to do it.
I just wanted to know what the purpose for this was. Was it just to help
Save
people
money.
that want to retire, or are we here to save money?